Hey John, welcome. We're just waiting for our other panelists.
No problem, no problem. Just as a heads up, my daughter's gonna be running around in the background, so I'll mute myself, but like you're gonna see a lot of activity.
You guys, can you hear me? Thank you.
OC, can you hear me? OC, can you see? I think you're muted. OC, can you hear?
I can hear you now.
Okay. OC, can you hear from the stars? Okay. Oh, hold it. Somebody's, OC signed it, right? Oh, yeah, of course. Jacob, John Francis is here?
Yes, I'm Zoom.
Oh, Zoom. Oh, that's John Francis. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Sounds like we're not out of it. We'll be crammed in the corner.
But they don't, I don't know, how does it work again? Do they count towards quorum?
I mean, it depends on the reason of the absence.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So we're down to 6 members. We need 4 for a quorum. What's the deal on quorum? Uh, OC and John Francis. Probably not. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So if we are 6, you need 4 for quorum, right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure whether you and John count towards a quorum, but I think it's since we're not voting, maybe it's okay. And our featured guest has now arrived.
So, are we gonna get another number though? Because we're at an even number right now.
Yeah, we're the even number, you're not, but it'll be an odd number. Because we always have very tight votes and you never can tell how it's gonna go. Well, his, uh, uh, his turn is coming up very, very, very soon. How are you doing? Welcome to our humble abode. Marty, are you here alone? Okay, okay, very good. Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order at 7:08 p.m. I'm Steve Simon. I'm the chair of the Community Board Health and Environment Committee. Welcome everyone as we resume our meetings for the fall season. We're working on getting into the playoffs so we can make it to the World Series. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a different meeting. I'm joined here by various other my other committee members, where we've lost a couple of members. One of whom has got a really valid excuse. Colin Paulino is going off to law school, Boston University Law School, I believe. So we certainly are going to miss her, but we encourage her in her major career move. We've also lost Jordy Herson, who's apparently been drafted away from us by the Traffic and Transportation Committee. Hopefully there'll be a player to be named later. So we're now down to 6 members. I'm joined here in the meeting room by Heidi Guzman and Jacob Banis. Jacob, we need to congratulate him on his recent wedding. Hoping he didn't have to interrupt his honeymoon to come to this meeting. And then in the atmosphere out there, we have 2 of our members, O.C. Kamina, our vice chair, and our latest committee member, whom we welcome, John Francis. Actually, he may be the player to be named later. Maybe in exchange for Jody Herson, we ended up getting John Francis. We'll see how that works out. Oh, I don't blame you. Why did the recording stop? Yeah. Okay. Do I continue or what? Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Well, hopefully, John will pan out and we can sign him to a long-term contract. Now, we have a lot on the agenda tonight, and we're especially privileged to have the Manhattan Borough Commissioner for the New York City Department of Environmental Protection, Marty Fatou. This is his first appearance before our committee, and we're hoping that this will lead to many others. Marty is going to give us a presentation, which he has billed as Flooding 101. We don't have major flooding issues in Washington Heights and Inwood. In East Inwood we do, but as we all should know, our topography being what it is, we're not exactly vulnerable to flooding in most of Washington Heights and Inwood. But in East Inwood did suffer in Superstorm Sandy, and is a matter of concern. So we are anxious to hear Marty.
So to the west, Steve.
So did what?
The west, the nature center was
Oh
completely
my
destroyed.
God! Oh God! How did I forget that? Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's you just embarrassed the hell out of me. So yes, we also did suffer at Inwood Hill Park. So yes, there are areas in Inwood that are susceptible to flooding. Commissioner Fatou, the floor is yours, and hopefully when you're finished, you'll give it back to us.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Before I start, I'm going to submit two things for the record. These are the complaints for August and July.
Oh, very good. The top 30 report.
The top
Yeah,
30.
yeah,
You'll see this one. We have a lot higher. We have 2,000. A lot of those.
Yeah, we said I'm going to get to this later in the meeting, but yes, we set a record in July for I think the most complaints we've ever submitted to DEP, and of course a lot of them concerned. Oh yes, yeah, a lot of them concerned fire hydrants, and at one point you turned off the water in Inwood and for overnight, and maybe when you get a check, do you remember that?
Well, we've done a few shutdowns.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get to that a little later. So that's like the reverse of flooding. We had no water. So
Would you like me to stand here?
wherever it's comfortable for you, because I think you're gonna have to deal with the laptop, so you might want to stand over there.
Oh, yeah. All right.
John, by the way, if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask. Don't hold back.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Chair,
Yeah.
members of the committee, I'm Marty Fatou. I am the Manhattan Borough Commissioner with the New York City Department of Environmental Protection, also known as the Water Department, the Sewer Department, Environmental Compliance Inspection. So in addition to water and sewer operations throughout the 5 boroughs of New York City, as well as your water supply, we also enforce the air and noise code. So commercial music, right? Not the neighbor to neighbor noise complaints, but anything around loud music, inside a venue. We also assist NYPD and our sister agencies with noise enforcement on public plazas. Local resiliency, so a number of projects throughout the city and the borough, working on building resiliency around our seaboard, both coastal and inland. I've been with the city for just over 3 years, and I've had the pleasure of serving as your borough commissioner for just about 7 months. So I'm very new to the position, but really looking forward to working with the board. We've done a lot of work at the district manager level, of course, with Steve, your chair, and really looking forward to continue working with everyone Flooding 101 is something that our commissioner, Britt Agarwal, really asked our public affairs team to go out and meet with our boards on. So this will be our final community board. I know we were supposed to do it earlier in the year, but there were some scheduling things. Really happy that you reached back out and we were able to do this presentation. A lot of this is common knowledge, but maybe you'll find some new revelations here. We've tailored it to really speak to the issues here in Washington and Heighton and Inwood. Just a little bit about our agency, right? In addition to water and sewer, noise, hazardous materials, asbestos, stormwater permitting. We are really a family of 6,200 dedicated employees, multiple bureaus. We're also a major employer upstate in some of our upstate counties. We oversee the 19 reservoirs that supply water to New York City. That's New York City infrastructure. The water comes down into multiple watersheds, including Jerome Avenue. We also have a Bureau of Wastewater Treatment that does have a presence a little lower at our North River Wastewater Treatment Facility. We have one at Newtown Creek in Brooklyn, right? Those big digester eggs that you see off the BQE. So really, we do it all here. We're underground. We work to provide critical services, including your water, to New York City every day. Let's get into it. All right. So our changing erratic climate. The National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, they've recently reclassified in recent years New York City as a subtropical climate. I don't know if we can move the window.
Yeah, I think we can.
I
Yeah.
want to get out a couple.
Minimize the little thing.
Yeah.
Zooms.
Yeah, very good.
So in recent, thank you. In recent years, and we've seen this, right, with recent storms, with Henry, with Ida, anywhere from 21 to now the most recent severe rain event, of course, in mid-July of this year. We are seeing just exponential levels of inches of water coming down more and more and more. And our sewer system is overburdened. And we'll get into that in one of the next slides. You may have seen during the last February event that a lot of our subways flooded. Major reason for that is the sewer system needs upgrades. And this is something that we're continuing to push. The sewers can only hold a certain amount of water. I don't have the exact number, but I believe it's 1.15 inches per minute. We saw almost double that on the last one. Hence, there's a lot of there's a lot of flooding, a lot of backups. In New York City, we typically get three types of flooding. We have groundwater flooding, which is very common in Washington Heights. We get coastal, not as much up here, but we see it lower towards the Battery. And then, of course, stormwater flooding, aka rain. So with stormwater, when an amount of rainwater produced by the storm is greater than the capacity of sewer pipes, the sewer can get overwhelmed. And we see this time and time again. Anytime there's a major rain event, top complaints are clogged catch basins, overflowing catch basins, water running into the subway stations and underpasses, and of course our roads. Not as much in Manhattan, but in Queens, in Brooklyn, you probably saw the last time this happened last month, the middle of last month. We had a lot of flooded roadways. Groundwater flooding. Some areas of the city have naturally high groundwater. So after there's a major rain event or back-to-back storms, whether it was a day, maybe a break, and then another day of storms, the ground becomes very, very wet and saturated. So water seeks its own level, and it finds and really travels its way through floors or basements. Anyone in this room or on Zoom, I know we can't do the hands necessarily, have experienced groundwater flooding, like in your basement? That's actually the first. More than half the room.
Okay.
Yeah. So sewers work in every rainstorm. 98% is protected, but that 2% is what you're seeing when things flood, right? It's not perfect, and a lot of that is because sewers need upgrades. Sewer network generally built to handle 1.5 to 1.75 inches of rain per hour. During storm systems can get overwhelmed, as we spoke about, when the amount of water produced by the storm is greater than the capacity of the pipes. Too much water is coming down, if it's greater than 1.5 to 1.75 inches of water. We saw over 3 inches of water on the last one, systems getting overwhelmed.
Marty, go back, and is that the size of a normal sewer pipe?
Yes. They're installing that, that's a new sewer line.
And that can't handle stormwater? And it looks huge.
It can handle stormwater, but not
Not-
3 to 3.5 inches.
Wow.
Actually, that's probably that's probably our newer ones, which
Yeah.
can handle it, but
Oh, okay.
the
Yeah.
ones that we currently have, a lot of them,
The old ones, yeah,
we
Yeah.
definitely need more upgrades.
right. So we are installing new ones that would have a greater capacity.
Correct.
Okay,
But we always
Yeah.
need more funding,
right,
and support and political will to do so.
right.
Sewer backups and overflows, pretty basic here, right? 60% of our city, we have a combined sewer system. That means we're carrying wastewater and stormwater in the same system. And during the storms, the sewer system can get overwhelmed when water produced by the storm is greater than the capacity, right? So I know this is a little repetitive, but if you can kind of picture a combined sewer system as well as, additional water, rainwater coming down more than what the pipes and the sewers can take at one time, it's just a recipe for disaster. With that being said, we have a toolkit to combating flooding. Whether that's green infrastructure, blue infrastructure, regulation, and real-time monitoring, we are doing everything we can. And that's just not DEP. That's our Parks Department does a lot in their infrastructure. Our city's emergency management department, our Department of Design and Construction, we're looking at flood mitigation and climate adaptation strategies anytime we work on a major public infrastructure, public realm project, such as SWIP, which is our stormwater permitting. It is a lot of these new protocols that we're going through, especially on public realm projects, are taking a lot longer to get through. However, they're deemed necessary because we don't want public infrastructure flooding.
Right. So the SWIP, by the way, I have some familiarity with it. It's SW triple PPP, stands for Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, which is now a requirement whenever there's a significant project that's going to disturb the soil or a piece of land. So Marty is correct now. It's now built into many of our capital projects.
One thing I wanted to point out on the past slide is our capital plan, our 10-year capital plan, $9 billion for sewer system upgrades citywide. It's not enough, but it's something. And I can say that our agency and a lot of the other city agencies do everything they can to really stretch the amount of money that is allocated. So that $9 billion, we are stretching to upgrade our sewer system throughout the 5 boroughs. Of course, as your borough commissioner, I'm always pushing for more in Manhattan, but really our outer boroughs as well. The sewer lines and the gas lines run parallel to each other in this borough. That is not the case in other boroughs, which means that anytime there's a Con Ed issue or anytime we have an issue with our water main system here in Manhattan, it's 3 times the work and response. A lot of times we do put out notifications on a water main break. Con Ed has to come on site to address their infrastructure, and then vice versa. If there's a Con Ed issue sometimes with one of their gas lines, we have to come in as well because we're so closely put together. All right, one of our, if not our greatest defense, is this for our catch basins. Catch basins, as you know, drain sewer water off the streets sewer. One of the biggest issues that we have in terms of blockades to catch basins is, different types of debris. Leaves and trash are very common. We find everything imaginable in catch basins, and you've probably seen that as well. one of the number one priorities and the top 211 calls that we get in Manhattan, Washington Heights specifically, is getting our crews out there, our Bureau of Water and Sewer Operation crews, to go clean, clear, and then fully test and operate the catch basins that we have. That's something that we do on a regular basis. That's something that we do preemptively to a storm. If we send our folks out there, they're typically doing it every day, but we do even more checking and clearing of our catch basins before a major rain event. Flooded man covers. So newly designed manhole covers, which you've probably seen. There's new ones and there are old ones. You can always tell a DP one with our historic and our known around the world NYC sewer language, identification on them. Those are them, and then the yellow ones are the new ones. So this one is actually installed at Fort George and Nagle Avenue, the new one in 2023. We do a lot, like data is huge in terms of our day-to-day operations. Again, it's 6,200 employees. Majority of our employees are operational staff that go out and they respond to address the assets such as catch basins, sewers, manhole covers, etc. They are some of the best city employees out there. We use data. So 150,000 catch basins need to be cleaned. That's what they're responsible for. And a lot of the inspections start on the clearing and cleaning of 311 complaints, right? We go into the system. An elected official might reach out. Steve or another community board member might reach out. Hey, Marty. Hey, Humberto. Hey, NYCDEP. You guys go look at this catch basin. It's clogged. We're seeing some flooding on the street at the intersection. Can you go address it? What we do is we send a team out there to inspect it. We clean and clear that catch basin. Sometimes we even flush the hydrant right at that corner. A lot of times in Manhattan, especially in Washington Heights, we run into ponding. Ponding, a lot of times, is due to street grading and milling. You know this very well. We play this never-ending game with DOT of going back and forth who's responsible. But they are very good partners, and if it's a grading issue, we respectfully move it over to there. But the number one thing that we're responsible for is ensuring that the sewer system and the catch basins are operational.
Julio has a question.
In terms of the catch basins that continuously clog, DEP look at this to see what causes, and the reason I'm bringing it up is that there's one on 165th Riverside Drive that constantly clogs. For the reason I'm
How
not,
many times a week is it clogged?
well, I think basically every time it really refrain from it, it clogs.
Yeah.
And particularly concerning is because when the floods, people come back cross over, they go from the south side to the north side and then cross over. It's not forward cross.
Well, let's explain a little more and put this in context. He's talking about a corner at the medical center complex near the hospital. And he's particularly familiar with that situation because he's the community affairs liaison for the hospital.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not the reason why.
But it's a reason.
Yeah.
But it's the story.
Okay. Concern is, I mean, I don't know, I was.
Sure.
Dark,
That area gets flooded right at that corner.
What that corner does, and it really impacts a lot of people.
When I'm done with this presentation, I wanna, 160, I wanna make sure I write it down.
Sure.
And then we should follow up. I'll definitely try to get
What's that?
And then I wanna check in, field off to see, hey, this is a reoccurring issue. So.
Can you grab an agenda?
Yep. So this is more hyper local, right? Topography and flooding hotspots. Let's go back to July 14th, the last biggest storm that we had in Manhattan and in New York City. So within the most intense 25 minutes of that storm, we saw 3.81 inches of rain per hour. That critically overwhelms the system, specifically the sewer system within the subways. And that's when things get really hairy. Inwood's flooding hotspots are located at low-lying areas, right at the bottom of the hill,
Yeah.
like at the foot of Fort George.
Yes, Yeah.
226 feet drop from the high point at West 191st, and then to the low point at West 200th Street. Is our data
Yeah.
match the public's opinion on that?
That's a very bad intersection. It's it's really Dykeman Street. Dykeman and 200th are the same thing, but it's everybody knows it as really as Dykeman Street. But that location. It's like a triple intersection with Nagel Avenue, Dykeman, and Fort George Hill. Very bad situation there with flooding.
So let's again, $9 million in our 10-year capital plan. We're continuing to build new sewers and catch basins to increase our capacity and what the system can hold. Because those newer sewers can hold more water. Is it going to be perfect? No. Is it going to prevent everything? No. But it will hold more than 1.75 inches per water. Like it will be able to hold more than what a lot of the current systems are currently able to hold. So one of them is a new catch basin and a new slotted manhole right at the Dyken Street 1 train station. That is huge because it's on MTA infrastructure and a critical subway station. Again, the 1 train was actually the line that you saw those viral videos of flooding. I don't know if anyone saw that, but that's where we're really focusing on are a lot of the older subway line stations. And then planning new sewers and catch basins on Fort George Hill to capture rainwater, which really goes down, of course, and floods that intersection at the bottom. I think that you were talking about, Steve, at Dykeman and Nagel.
Yeah.
That's an $8.1 million job. That just kind of gives you an idea of like what that would cost just for one. $8.1 million. We're starting in fiscal year 2027.
So at some point after July 1st of 2026.
Correct. I need to actually, and yeah, so the one other thing, I don't like it's okay. That's okay. Yeah. And what the last check mark says there is we constantly are studying and looking at where we could do upgrades, where we could do capital planning. We have a great team of engineers, capital planners. We also work very closely with the Department of Citywide Planning and other city agencies. And we really rely on that brain trust, as well as the community tell us, where things could be installed, where maybe a catch basin would be helpful. And a lot of the ways you can do that is really utilizing the 311 system, right? Because we use the data that we're getting from 311, where, we're using all the communications that I have with my field ops manager from Manhattan, right? Where I'm sending them. And usually where I'm sending them is coming from an elected official's office, which really comes from you, right? Or from a member of the public. So we use that data from 311 to show where those hotspots really are. Another big, another really helpful tool is FloodNet. I don't know, does anyone know what FloodNet is? Are you familiar with it? So it's not going to prevent a flood, but they're real-time flood sensors. So FloodNet is a partnership between the Mayor's Office, Center for New York City Neighborhoods, and CUNY Children's College. We're also a partner with them as well. And they have sensors that deploy throughout the city. You can actually go on the website. It's Steve, I can get you the link. It's floodnet.nyc, and you can see the real-time data dashboard to see where the FloodNet sensors are, and then it actually picks up how much rain is on the ground in that area. FloodNet is actually very helpful as well in our capital planning when we look at where we should install a catch basin, a manhole, man cover, man cover, and other types of climate adaptation, flood mitigation tools, right? We see that through the sensors. So you have a couple. There are 5 sensors in Edgewood. I can get you the specific location, Steve, following. But again, if you want to request one, you can through the website. And the team at CUNY, the scientists and the researchers will look into that, and they'll see, okay, there's 20 people that think we should have a sensor at this intersection. They're likely going to install it.
And would we also have any in Washington Heights?
I can check for you.
Well,
When
and-
we say Inwood, we really mean Inwood and Washington Heights throughout Community Board 12.
Oh, okay, all right,
But I'll get you the specific.
Okay.
locations.
very good.
This is really our first flood monitoring network, and we are actually trying to do more to install additional sensors. Additional $7.2 million DEP spends. We install 500 additional sensors throughout the city. All right, so this is one of our other tools that we're doing. It's more of a public policy related matter. But Steve and I kind of briefly spoke about it. Is the stormwater rule, the stormwater permitting. In any new building in New York City, any new development, whether it's major commercial or major residential, before they can even go and get DOB permits, they have to come to DEP to present us their stormwater plan. How are they going to absorb water, and how are they going to prevent flooding on their job or in their building? This is a new part of our stormwater rule, which was passed in 2022. Because we really need to know how buildings are going to manage on-site water, especially stormwater. One of the things that we're also encouraging, and this is also through a tax abatement that Mayor Adams and Commissioner Agarwal and other local and state leaders pushed in Albany, something called the green roof tax abatement for New York City property owners. So we're big on green roofs. Green roofs can really absorb a lot of stormwater. They're healthy spaces for the environment. There was a tax abatement where you would have to, I think, you'd have to have 50% of available capacity on your roof for a green roof. In order to increase participation, we went back to Albany a couple of years ago, and now you only need 25% of availability in order to do green roof. It's expensive. I'm not going to lie. It's not perfect. But again, it's a step in the right direction. Converted basements. Not as much probably up here, but more citywide. Bathroom fixtures should not be located lower than the sewer connection. And this can, because of that, it can result in raw sewage backing up into basement apartments or drains. This actually happens a lot. We get a lot of 311 calls for this. Unfortunately, we come out and we test the water, we test the sewage. Becomes an internal plumbing issue. We have to call a plumber and you have to pay for it. With stormwater flooding, basements located at the bottom of a driveway below sidewalk level are prone to stormwater flooding and groundwater flooding. Right, you can see kind of there's ponding right there. It kind of comes right in the driveway. Exit routes are critical in the event of a major storm or a major flood or a major hurricane. And it's something that we say across the board. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. We are going to get a major storm here, could be higher than the level that we got in Sandy. And this is why we continue to push to the public really out that having bars on basement apartments or on ground level windows and dwellings, we understand a lot of people use it for public safety and security. On the other hand, if there was a major flood or storm overnight, it could be deadly getting out of your unit. Unfortunately, we had fatalities during Sandy and during Ida where folks couldn't get out. Flood sensors are really important too, especially if you have basement space, whether it's in your, I know there's a lot of apartment buildings in the area, but people keep, stuff in lockers on the ground level. Always try to elevate your belongings. We see a lot of property damage when people have their belongings, in a garage or a basement lower than where they should be, especially after, a rain event where there's a lot of groundwater flooding in the building. Sensors are also very important to flood sensors. We speak to a lot of building supers in the area a lot on this, and we're always encouraging property managers and homeowners to really invest in sensors for their buildings. Sump pumps are also really important. Sump pumps can help remove flood water, specifically in basements, ground level apartments. Can also work upstairs too. And it detects the rising water, and then it pushes it outdoors. 10 to 15 feet beyond your building. So use those pipe hoses 10 to 15 feet beyond. And I'm gonna go back to sensors and sump pumps in just a moment. Rerouting downspouts are also really important too. Rain gutters should be disconnected from your home sanitary drainage and directed away from your home. In the event of a storm, if your gutters are adding a lot of water to the sewer line, it could actually cause a major backup in the neighborhood. Always want to conserve water. We continue to encourage the public to conserve water. So wait to flush the toilet, take a shower, use appliances that use water during heavy rain. That extra water discharge puts unnecessary strain on already taxed sewer systems. So if the rain's coming down at 3.75 inches an hour, imagine everyone taking a shower at the same time. That's not going to improve it. But again, you're not forced to do that. We just politely ask.
Might as well just go outside and take a shower in the rain.
You didn't hear it from me. All right, the other big item too is we spend, honestly, 18 million is a low estimate. We're actually thinking it's closer to $20 million a year to degrease sewers, deal with damage from backups, and repair equipment trashed by wet wipes. Guess who fits the bill? We do. You know, people throw all types of stuff down the drains. It's what they find at North River is it's a spectacle. Another preventative measure too, we really encourage the public to sign up for Notify NYC. Show of hands, who has Notify NYC on their phone? One.
Yeah.
You have it, yeah. Notify NYC, please download it. It's New York City Emergency Management's real-time emergency alert system. Whether it is public safety announcements, you just put in your zip code and your address, and it'll send you real-time things. They do street parking and different types of announcements. So from evening activities, but also to major emergencies, this is the way the city is communicating. Notify NYC. This is an addition to. Yeah, 311 is just the way you report stuff.
Oh,
Notify is emergency alert. So like I have one, like I get them. There was a major accident on Belt Parkway, and like I was getting text, you know, you shouldn't go this way, and it's like a push alert. A lot of warnings before a flood, or not a flood, but for a major rain event. Any sort of natural disaster, terrorist attack, mass casualty event, you're getting a notification.
Yeah, Nick, this is sort of the opposite of 311.
Yeah.
I mean, instead of citizens reporting conditions to the city, the city, yeah.
Thank you. Of course, the other thing too, I mean, not everyone has.
And I'm sorry, and tell all your union members.
Plan for intense storms, right? One of the other things to do is always look at any sort of mobile apps that use the National Weather Service or emergency management system, because they're also giving, they're giving you that real time information too. Most of NICEM, which is New York City Office of Emergency Management, that run with NYC, we're getting all of those weather reports from the National Weather Service. If you have an iPhone or an Android, they use the same people as well. Fire hydrants. So, I give a top 30 complaint tracker to Steve on all the 301 complaints we get from community board 12, as well as every other community board in the city. Fire hydrants, letting them run is, I know it's fun, but it really puts a burden on the system for us, for our firefighters to fight fires. It's 1,000 gallons per minute with an open hydrant. Spray caps are great. Any person over 18 years of age can go to their local firehouse. They can request a spray cap. You can also do that through the 311 system. Steve, I gave you the tracker. Can you tell us how many open hydrants we got over the summer? I think it would.
Well, in July, we had 646 complaints of hydrants running full, and then but then you got two other categories. You got fire hydrants emergency, which I think is probably that might be the same thing. Another 398, and then another type of complaint, hydrant running. So I don't. So maybe it wasn't running full, but it was still blasting. Another 239. So you got I don't know what you got, like 1,200 complaints here in just 1 month. Oh, I'm sorry. Next on the list, illegal use of a hydrant. Probably the same thing again. I mean, it's it's the number one complaint in July. In August, it was less so. 226 complaints about hydrants running full, and another 106 for just hydrants running.
Yeah, in terms of the hydrants.
Yeah.
Which are, I guess they're magnetic.
The lock.
The lock.
Yeah.
And some time ago, it was very difficult to sort of get these open, and there were a lot of controversy because I figure out whether it was DEP did not want to share the locking device with local police department, if they didn't want these things to open. Well,
Yeah, I remember something of that years ago. Yeah.
so, all of these hydrants so easily now.
Good question.
You're talking now how members of the public, how are they doing it? Yeah. Yeah, there was one guy up on Amsterdam Avenue who
Yes, Mr. Rio Manhattan. We just did a video with him, actually. Yeah, we just did a PSA with him last week.
you did a PSA with him?
Yes, because he now works with NYPD and FDNY, and our first deputy commissioner was like, "This guy's going viral. He's all over the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's reach out. Let's see. Hey, like we kind of walked him through, how much water was being wasted, and how you could just go get a sprinkler cap. He's actually a really nice guy. Big chain, Alex. Really nice guy. We went out, we did a video with him. He was great. He works really well with our crews. They've known him for a long time. Listen, at the end of the day, he's keeping kids out of trouble.
Yeah.
And he's building community. And we want to be part of the community. We don't want to be obstructing fun.
Mm-hmm.
But we need sprinkler caps on.
So
Because our firefighters got to put out fires.
So is he using the sprinkler cap now?
So he's using a sprinkler cap now. We did the video and he told everyone how to get a sprinkler cap. It's on our Instagram at NYC Water on our social, and then he posted on his as well. But he loves DEP, he loves FDNY. And again, we want to be part of the community. We don't want to be seen as as trying to police the fire hydrants. It's not what we're trying to do. The message here is have fun, but do it while respecting the needs of the fire department to prioritize public safety and of course to conserve water.
I have a question.
Sure.
Steve, I also have a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead.
Is the water in the fire hydrants?
It is. Would I suggest drinking it? No.
No, that's not. I don't want to. But that's
No. But no, it is fresh water. It is drinkable water. But a lot of times, when we go to flush it, like we flushed some hydrants in Little Italy yesterday for the upcoming San Gennaro Festival. Because that's a big thing down there. And it was kind of brown, right? And so we see that a lot when we haven't flushed them in a little bit. We actually did something with the hospital. I reached out. We had a brown water issue, I think, up this way. And I was speaking to Columbia Presbyterian. And the messaging that we put out to the public, I think you were on that, Steve. I think I sent it to you, but I'll send it to you again. Yeah. We were saying it's not toxic or poisonous. But like would we drink? But we are not encouraging the public to drink.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was, I think, the message I got from you with respect to the overnight shutdown up in Inwood.
Correct. That's exactly what that was. We had to shut down the night before.
Right. Yeah. So
another question?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question. I'm raising my hand for 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, then I'm sorry. O.C. Kaminer has a question. She's our vice chair.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah. Question about the blue roof, green roof. is that now a requirement by DOB for every new development to have either green or blue?
Hi there. Sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So absolutely not. Green roofs are not required. We encourage them. The city is encouraging installation of green roofs, but it's not required. There is a property tax abatement if you're interested, in installing a green roof. I believe you have to have 25% of roof space available to do a green roof in order to qualify for the tax abatement. If that's something of interest to you, I'd be more than happy to send you information on that. But no, it's not a requirement. Now, for any sort of major development, the stormwater permitting plan is required, but that's not a green roof. And I'm sorry if I wasn't clear.
all right, Richard now has a question.
Hey, Richard, how are you?
Hey,
Good to see
okay,
you.
a comment and then a couple of questions.
By the way, this is Richard's second shot at hearing the presentation.
I know.
Oh, you know that, okay.
It's true. And it's good.
Is
you were
it
talking-
better the second time?
We're a little more community specific in this
My
one.
Oh, okay.
question has got way too many layers to it,
Okay.
Steve.
Okay.
You were talking about basement units before.
Yeah.
And my first thought is that the people who live in basement units are among the most vulnerable people
Correct.
in the city or anywhere. So talking to them it seems to me that that's a place where you got to go after the property owners. Maybe it needs legislation, maybe it needs some kind of campaign. But the folks who live there, I mean, and there are a lot of basement apartments in this neighborhood. I'm mostly aware of the ones that are in close to the Trans Manhattan Expressway. I know people usually call it the Cross Bronx, but it's the Trans Manhattan. There's a lot of them along 178th and 179th and probably in other places through the neighborhood. That's a comment.
And we're not just talking about private homes. A lot of our basement apartments are in regular apartment buildings. And
We have very few private homes in
Yes.
this district.
yeah, right. So, I mean, I think that's a point to be made. It's not, when people think of basement apartments, I think for the most part, they're thinking of small buildings. But what we have, I think, are places where some basement rooms have been maybe illegally converted into apartments.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Richard. I do know this, and this, predates my time at DEP. HPD is very involved with basement units and outreach. The electeds as well. We've talked to a lot of the elected officials up here, but HPD has been really pushing for at least the last 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer, to legalize basement units. And again, I'm not endorsing or opposing this. I'm just, providing some feedback. In order so that the city could really get an idea of how many people are living in basement units, where they are, so that we can do that targeted outreach. A lot of agencies are doing the targeted outreach, public engagement unit, HPD. We could always be doing more as a city. I don't disagree. But the more that we bring basement units into legitimacy,
Yeah.
The easier it will be, I think, to do a lot of the outreach, and also to communicate with the landlords. Like you brought up landlords, I think that's anyways, I don't want to go on a spiel here, but I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Two other questions. I came in late, so I may have missed a little of this, but as you talk about new development, how much attention from DEP in this range of issues is going into the siting of new developments? Because up here in the Bronx, across the Harlem River, an awful lot of the new development sites are lowlands, very close to the water. I think about the stuff along 207th, approaching the University Heights Bridge, but there's proposed developments going up the Harlem River all the way to the top of Manhattan from there. And I'm just wondering, what's DEP's input into into those sites?
Great question.
Yeah, very good question.
if it's a public realm, like, are you talking about a private work? Like, are you talking about a private development? or-
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Majority
private-
private development.
Some of it may be on publicly owned property,
Property,
but,
yeah.
but these are buildings being, developed by private developers.
Yeah, I think, I mean, of course, there's a lot of environmental surveying that's done, not by DEP, but by the developer. Developers are probably looking at the trends. I don't want to speak for them because I don't know what they actually do. But I think historically, like, we see the same places getting flooded. So, if someone were to build something, they would know, oh, historically, there's been issues with flooding here. In terms of us as a regulator, we don't regulate that. However, they do have to present to us a stormwater plan, right? That is now part of the permitting process. That's where that 2022 rule really comes into effect. With that said, though, a private developer, they're developing, they were to put something at the bottom of Fort George Hill, like, I don't know, like, that data isn't that new, right? Like, this has been happening for years and years and years. I don't know, maybe some common sense involved there too, but they should be thinking about it.
And if I can do one last question.
Sure.
When we have heavy rains or anything that moves towards flooding, sewer grates back up from the debris that comes down, that flows down the curbs, et cetera. I'm wondering what strategies are dealing with that, with the thought that there may be some electronic tools or sensors of something that do that. FloodNet really is doing that. I was aware of a Columbia Innovation Group. I forget the name of their
They're part of
laboratory.
that whole, I think, yeah, I'm not in the weeds on it, but that makes sense.
And the other thought is maybe there's some human solutions. Maybe that's a place to pay seniors or youth to be neighborhood ambassadors to monitor things like that. Obviously, that takes funding, but it might be an awfully good use of that money.
And it'd be an awfully good use of their time.
Yeah, right. All right, is there,
It's a great suggestion.
do we have much more to do?
Yeah, just a few more.
Okay.
Another big thing we want to definitely stress here tonight is homeowner and renters insurance. Typically homeowners and renters insurance policies do not include coverage for sewer backup. There is a website that the city of New York, with the Center for Neighborhoods does as well. It's called Flood Help New York, floodhelpnewyork.org. Those give you can put in your address and you can get basically vetted and approved insurance companies and offerings that might be able to cover for your home or apartment. The other thing too is something that we worked on legislatively, and when I say we, I mean the city of New York, DEP, the mayor's office, and Assemblyman Bobby Carroll out of Brooklyn, as well as Senator Wellman Siegel of Manhattan, was something called the Flood Risk Disclosure Act, signed by the governor in 2023, requires basically any sort of home buyer and home renter, you have the right to see past flood history and past flood damage, whether you're renting an apartment or you're buying a home. So this is something that we pushed for a long time. Home buyers came first. Now home renters are there. So you have the right to request disclosure on any flood damage that's happened in the past when you go to buy a new home or rent a new apartment. For businesses, and I know I already sent out the presentation. SBS has our Department of Small Business Services. Steve's probably in contact with them as well, as is the board. They also do risk assessments and grants for small businesses around insurance. All right, my last slide, and something we're really proud of is DEP in the community. This summer, we engaged wholeheartedly. We could always do more engagement, right? We want to hear from you as to how we can be more helpful, and I mean that. We did a flood kit town hall and giveaway. I think Steve was there in attendance, as were a few other community board members. We did this in partnership with Councilmember Carmen De La Rosa, a great friend of DEP, as well as Assemblyman Manny De Los Santos. This was at the Y up in Inwood. So over 100 community members received a flood kit, which included a sensor, blow-ups, sump pumps, etc. That's what they look like. They're in those bags that the member is holding. That was the town hall. So we actually are, like deputy commissioner, walk the public through what's in the flood kit and how to use it, and then gave some facts. And then we had that translated into Spanish. A lot of the attendees were English as second language speakers. So we made sure to have translation services there. And then we did the distribution. It was actually a lot of fun, and really thank you, Board 12. I know you helped us get the word out. And then our elected partners, and of course our partners at the Y. So just really quick, that is John Castiglione. He is your field ops manager in the white shirt, and that was the event. And then recently we did tabling grease bag. Sorry, I know that sounds terrible, grease bag, but that usually it's a bag to where you can drop your grease instead of dropping it down the toilet or the sink. And a hot spoon dryer where you have a hot or greasy spoon that's really hot. You put it on a little mat and it dries. And we did that at the Uptown United Against the Violence event with Representative Congressman Espaillat's office, NYPD, and Assembly Member Manny de los Santos. We are the water department. We are the country's largest municipal water utility, but we're also a member of the community. A lot of our employees live in the area, and we all believe in peace and public safety. So we wanted to be part of this event. And we look forward to increased engagement here in Inwood, Washington. That's all I have.
All right, well, that's pretty good. Thank you for the presentation. And let me just say that it's impossible for me to talk about DEP without acknowledging that DEP maintains probably the most incredible water supply system in the country, and a system that begins all the way up in the Catskill, Delaware water gap, comes all the way down to New York City, basically operates just through the means of gravity, and it's an incredible system that's existed for I don't know, over 150 years maybe.
Yeah, not that much longer. Yeah. It's also open to the public. A lot of our land up there, people can hike. They can not fish, but some of the ponds you can fish, not of course the reservoirs themselves, but a lot of that land is open to the public. If you're ever interested in learning about what's open, what's not open to the public, let me know. We have a whole website dedicated about our upstate. Anywhere from Westchester all the way to the Catskills, we have assets.
All right, so let me just, I got two questions based on basically the presentation. And the presentation, I think, is particularly timely because we're starting our budget review season. One of the items on tonight's agenda is to have a preliminary discussion about our FY27 budget priorities. And we have had on our list for several years an item titled Continue the Replacement of Old Water Mains and Sewer Lines in Our Community. And a few years back, there was a pretty extensive, we had like 3 or 4 projects going on almost simultaneously in different parts of Washington Heights and Inwood, in which sewer and water mains were being replaced. But that seems to have stopped. And the question we've had, which I think I've brought up to you and Umberto in the past, is how much more work along those lines is needed in Washington Heights and Inwood, and basically, should we still be carrying this as one of our budget priorities?
You're asking me that?
Yes. You know something, you don't need to answer tonight.
I'm not going to answer tonight.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be in a public meeting, but I can get back to you on that.
Yeah, because it would be good information for us to have before our next meeting when we're going to rank our budget priorities.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be clear too. I mean, the numbers and the figures that we gave in the presentation around how much we're investing in the sewer system.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not just Washington Heights.
Right.
You're right. Like we got to take. I mean, how many community boards are in New York City?
59.
59. And then how much did it cost for one catch basin?
Yeah.
And sewer? It's like over
Yeah.
close to 10 million. I'm
Right.
not saying, I'm not trying to give excuses, but
Right.
if I was,
Right. Now,
if I wasn't, I'd be
Right.
lying.
well, we had a guy who used to be on this board who used to argue that the water mains and sewer lines in Washington Heights and Inwood were the oldest in the city. And I used to get into fights with him all the time. I said, that doesn't make any sense. Well, why would the oldest ones be here? Wouldn't they be maybe downtown? I mean, why would they be all the way up here? And so,
Well,
but
his reasoning. I mean, I can see why he'd argue that.
well, I couldn't, but I mean, clearly we have old water and sewer lines, and certainly a lot of them are due to be replaced. They must have, exceeded their useful lifespan. But I would like to have, it would be good information for us to have.
Awesome. I'll look into it.
Okay, so the other issue that arises is, I think during the presentation you might have said something about how there's catch basins are being cleaned or checked on did you say on a daily basis?
We're out there, they're out there every day doing those checks. Of course, before a storm,
Yeah.
it's we hold the shifts.
Yeah.
And we bring in the shifts earlier and we're out there, go. But yeah, like during the day, and even at night, but mainly during the day shifts, water and sewers, you see the trucks. They're out there and they're checking them all the time. And of course, we're responding to 311 throughout the day. Areas that need to be addressed, right? They'll come into us through public affairs really quick, 311, but then also Steve has my info, Manhattan DEP at dep.nyc.gov, goes right to my email. And then Humberto Galarza, who I know a lot of you are familiar with. Humberto is great. He's on my team. He's been with the agency for over 20 years and is great. Is a great partner here in Washington Heights. We can dispatch crews. With that being said, I just wanted to point out, we have 3 operational yards in Manhattan that are operated 24 hours a day. We have Pike Street, which is Manhattan Sewers, which is down under the Manhattan Bridge. And then we have another sewer division and water maintenance division up on 155th and St. Nick's. Right. And then we also have East 38th Street right next to the FDR, which is Manhattan Water Maintenance. 3 major operational yards, 3 shifts, day, swing, midnights, just like police or fire. Yeah.
Should we be arguing as we do our budget request that you should have increased staff to check on the catch basins?
We love our laborers and our district supervisors and a crew of DEP. And I also want to plug this too, if anyone is listening or, quick job seeker. City of New York is hiring. I know Parks is probably hiring too. DEP is always hiring. We're always looking for that next generation, or someone that wants to make a career change, or being in the apprenticeship program that we have for our laborers. Is bar none one of the best city jobs from what I've heard. According to the chief, great job. Yeah.
So what do we call those positions? The people who are inspecting and cleaning out the catch basins?
So it can be, that's under BWSO, the Bureau of Water and Sewer. Like Humberto and I were in the Bureau of Public Affairs and Communications within the Commissioner's Office in Intergovernmental Affairs. BWSO, you started out as a laborer apprentice, journeyman, and then full-time laborer. That's a union job, right? It's a great job. And then you can promote up to sewer water maintenance supervisor, and then I believe a district supervisor, and then you can go really up the chain. Some of our top folks at BWSO that are at the executive level of the agency, they started out of one of our operational yards. We have a much greater presence in Queens and Brooklyn, right? They're a lot bigger by land, but also we have a lot more issues out there in terms of flooding. With that said, it's a great career.
So that's the Bureau of Water
and Sewer Operations.
Water and Sewer.
BWSO.
Okay. Water and sewer operations.
But we're always hiring for inspectors for our noise issues. I know.
We're going to get to that in a moment. We're going to get to that. Okay. But first, I want to see if we have any other questions related to the flooding presentation. Is there Anything from OC or John or anyone else out there? I have one hand. Oh,
You guys has that jobs website now, that they put in all the jobs together, like there's parks jobs on that, Steve, or is it jobs.nyc? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
so I
Hello.
don't, yeah,
Hi.
is this the person who wants to ask something?
Yes.
Oh,
And could
Yes,
you,
please.
if you don't mind, could you state your name for the record?
Most definitely. Gabriella Beal, born and bred in Inwood. Thank you for the presentation. Phenomenal. I just wanted to bring up a few points. Thank you for the gentleman who brought up the point that there were tons of basement apartments in this area. That's how we handle the housing crisis. We have basement families living in basement apartments, and in 2021, many of them had to be rescued by the police and the fire department because their apartments flooded out and they were trapped. So those flood sensors, those flooding kits would be phenomenal. And also talking to the building managers directly and telling them this is an issue. You can lose your life if you're not careful. So thank you for bringing that up. You just don't see them. If you're not from the area, you would not know. Also, the new housing that's coming up, private developers are actually putting the housing in Inwood's North Cove. That's adjacent to the river. It's roughly 5 to 10 feet above the river. Not much when the river overflows, when there's tidal flooding, when there's a storm surge. There is poor drainage infrastructure. How old it is, I do not know. That's something that we as a community need to keep an eye on, and making sure that everyone is compliant, because there are hundreds of apartments that are going up. People are already living there, and we don't want to have a situation where folks are literally swimming for their lives. So something to keep in our back pocket, or whatever you want to call it. So that's a very,
let's keep
I
it in
grew
our
up near
front
that
lines.
area. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And the last item is flood sensors. I'm wondering whether there are any flood sensors between 202nd Street and 205th Street in 9th Avenue, which is Sherman Cove. There are roughly 5 schools there, over 1,000 children between those 5 streets. And I'm sure I'm missing a couple of schools. So what do we have there?
Could you give me that? I would love if you could please repeat the like cross street, please.
The 202nd and what was the other one? 205th?
Between 202nd and 205th Street. So
Okay.
there's a new school,
Yeah,
PS
10th Avenue.
278. Yeah, that's 10th Avenue. That's 201st Street and Academy. It's right by Sherman Creek.
Yes.
So there's PS 5,
Yes.
Ellen Laurie School. There's PS 278, which has roughly 400 kids. My niece goes there. And there's PS 18. There's a Christian school there. There's a charter school nearby. And that's right by the river, especially PS 5 and PS 278. So it's right by the highway. If there's a flooding issue, the kids would have to cross that highway, make their way to wherever, but they're adjacent to Sherman Creek, and I don't know if there are any flood sensors there. I mean, these are primary.
Okay, well,
There's two
primary schools.
adjacent.
I just pulled
one
it
of
up.
the members just
Yeah.
pulled it up, and I'm also going to send the link to the dashboard. It's a public dashboard. I'm going to have the board staff or chair send that out. It's actually floodnet.nyc. And again, you can see where every single sensor is that's on right now in New York City. And then the real-time
Fantastic.
data. And then there's also an option to request a FloodNet sensor. That will go to the research team at CUNY. One last thing I wanted to point out, the FloodNet sensor in the program is great. It's phenomenal. It's helpful. But it is not a public safety apparatus. Like if there's no alarm that goes off when, right, it's really more for a post-storm analysis to see where added infrastructure could be. It's not like a beeper. With the flood kit giveaway, we love doing it up here in Inwood, Washington Heights. I want to give a big thank you to Councilmember De La Rosa's office, who really helped us with outreach to the supers. And we really want to continue to do that because, you know, they're really critical in this, as you're saying.
And I just really appreciate you bringing that up.
Thank you.
But
Appreciate
you said-
everybody's time.
But one second, you're saying we do have sensors in this area between
So there's one on 10th Avenue
10th Avenue?
and 211th, and then there's one at the intersection of Nagel and Dykeman.
All right, but not specifically on 10th Avenue between 202nd and 2.
That's like between the two.
Yeah.
So the member of the public will need to put in the request.
Okay,
Like if I get enough requests on one, then
Yeah.
of course I can.
Okay.
Sorry.
And I'm sorry, Gabriella, your last name again is Beal, Beal?
BIEL?
Biel. Okay, very good. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. All right, any other questions related to flooding?
Okay.
Looks
Looks
like, is this,
Actually.
no, that's still Gabriella's hand. Okay, so, all right, so Marty, we're gonna move on
Thank
to
you.
another subject,
Appreciate it.
which you brought up yourself.
Oh, okay.
About noise. We,
And just so you know, I'm here if at all possible to speak for, I'll keep it to 2 minutes.
yeah, okay, yeah.
And I go see. Yeah, it goes to me. Yeah, just FAT. OOH. IDP. .NYC. .gov.
Okay, yeah, you got it.
Sorry, okay, so Marty, we do have a persistent issue throughout in the community about noise and including noise at plazas. And we had a public hearing on the subject back in the spring. This committee produced a resolution which unfortunately the board as a whole did not go along with. But I think we're gonna discuss later on in this meeting whether to reintroduce or update that resolution. It's an issue, I think, which is not gonna go away. I got a couple of emails from a couple of people just today, which I'd be happy to forward to you, which goes into great detail about how they feel they've really been drastically inconvenienced by the noise coming out of these plazas. And Elizabeth is here to speak on it as well. So do we in fact have enough noise inspectors, and are they working at night when we probably need them the most?
So this is a great question. And I know it's a major issue up here. I get all the complaints. We're on it with the precinct. We're doing everything we can. What I will share though is our role in this and the capacity that we currently have. DEP enforces the air and noise code in New York City. Where we truly though have jurisdiction is around commercial music coming from a venue. So I'll give an example. Let's say you have let's say you lived up on this floor and there was a bar downstairs. And the bar's music, whether it's live music or it's DJ or speakers, you feel is in violation of the noise code or it's affecting your quality of life. You would report that to 311. Our inspectors would set up a time with you, the complainant, and that's why if you're going to report a noise complaint, you need to put your name, your last name, and your contact info. Because if you keep putting in complaints and you don't put your name, we can't really follow up on it. So we will make a time with you. Our inspectors are great. They like to go. We like to send them when something is happening at the venue or during times when the noises are reported to be higher than normal. We'll take an indwelling reading, whereas our inspectors will go in to your dwelling, we'll take a reading on it. Now, if we find,
Are they doing that at night?
yes, sorry, don't mean to come off as offensive. I'm just very enthusiastic about this topic because we deal with it a lot. We did one recently. I went on a quote unquote ride along in the West Village, probably about a month ago. We went into the dwelling of the complainant around 10 p.m. We matched that with the time that the venue had a live act coming in. On one of the apartments, there was a violation. One of the other apartments we did, there was a reading, there was no violation. Now, on the first violation, if we find one, the business owner or their representative is notified, they're issued a summons. Once that summons is issued, it's turned over to the Office of Trial and Hearings. That is a completely independent agency of DEP. That that has to go through its due process. The complainant and the respondent, the complainant, right, they've made the complaint. The respondent now has the opportunity to go through due process. Usually there's a monetary fine on the first violation. What can also happen is there's the MEND program, and then we have through Small Business Services, there's the Office of Nightlife. They've been doing some mediations as well. Now, I'm not gonna comment about what other agencies do. NYPD, the Community Affairs Officer, they're also involved with this as well, right? The New York City Police Department does civil enforcement. They have a civil enforcement bureau, which is separate than the precinct, right? So they have powers and they have authority as well. Now, if the violation goes through, they pay the fine, or they keep doing it, right? The second violation a business gets, it's a referral to the state liquor authority. We refer that matter to the SLA. The SLA is great. They honestly monitor a lot of these, even before they get to their desk. And so I don't want to go through this more, but I will say a lot of the issues that we see up here compared to Lower Manhattan or the Upper West Side is I don't get a lot of bars up here. I know there's a lot of bars and clubs up here, but I'm not like, we don't get a lot of
Well-
complaints about bars and clubs.
well-
It's mainly plazas.
Well, it's not like boards 2 and 3 maybe, but
It's plaza, a
But-
lot of it's plaza is what we're getting.
I know,
don't
but
I mean,
but one of our plazas, it sort of feeds off these restaurants and bars that are right alongside the plaza.
It's that outside, yeah, like that outside
So-
hanging out, outside the bar.
Right.
People are smoking, people are talking.
You're just gonna want me to shut up, but I think up here we have a situation where, first of all, people are living in the building, the landlords are renting to extremely loud bars. I have walked by bars and outside gotten a decibel reading of 75. I'm sure that the second floor apartments are more than the 42 decibels above whatever that they're supposed to be. The plaza operates essentially as a giant bar. And all these little bars are sort of part of it. If I don't get home tonight, it will be because of sameness, frankly. I think people in the buildings are very frightened. And it has been so impossible to attack this using any legal means that people are giving up. People are moving out of the neighborhood. I don't think apartments will be sold if anyone comes up on a summer weekend. It's way out of control. If they are going to come, I suggest a Sunday afternoon when the plaza's having an event. I'll
So-
say that now. It's on the Sapo website once they're approved.
We don't, so what I wanna be clear about, and I feel I empathize with you. I know that it's frustrating. I actually don't know because I don't live up here. Right? I don't know what you're going through, but I do empathize with you. What I can say is we typically do not enforce noise outside of a venue, right? Like an outdoor plaza. They have permits, I believe, with DOT, right?
What is their decibel limitation? If they have a permit, which I'm not arguing about, they
Yeah.
get permits.
I can get back to you on that, but again, what I told you that DEP has done already on this, and maybe we can do more. With this plaza specifically, is we have reached out to the NYPD. Not just to the precinct, we went to One Police Plaza about it, civil enforcement, and we told One Police Plaza that this issue is persisting. And that whatever permits are being agreed to with other agencies are not quelling and mitigating any sort of
That-
neighborhood concerns. That's what we did. Now, if it is helpful, we just did this recently in another community board. The community board, the precincts, and DP want to come together with the SLA and do a bar meeting where we bring in all the bar owners. Hey, it's something.
But I think-
And we can walk them through the noise code. We're happy to do that, but that would be for the bars. It wouldn't be,
Yeah.
it would be more of an industry meeting for education.
But
and-
in this
yeah.
particular case, the bars are actually in charge of operating the plaza.
Yes.
So there may be a reason to do that, but the impression I have though is that the problem is compounded not by not by the permitted events at the plazas, although that's an issue. But the fact is that there are ad hoc events, but people feel free to just show up there and maybe set up speakers or do stuff, because the plaza is there. And so, where we've tried to argue that you shouldn't have like back-to-back events, give people some, a chance to breathe, so that both Saturdays and Sundays are not filled up with loud events. It turns out that maybe the plaza operators are doing something on a Saturday, but then somebody comes along on a Sunday and they'll do their own event anyway. So there is that issue.
So, I mean,
May-
go ahead.
I'd like to speak to something else.
Yeah,
I hope I
sure.
make it home tonight. Most recent experience at the plaza. I purposely went out for 5 hours to avoid hearing most of this. I live 2 blocks to 1.5 blocks from the speakers, depending when they're set up. This was a legal event, as far as I know, sponsored by Dykeman Gardens.
A legal event, LEGA.
It was legal as far
Okay,
as I
well, yeah.
know.
Well, that it was sponsored by the plaza operator.
Sponsored by Dykeman Gardens, who is the nonprofit. I'm forcing myself to go down the street and take a decibel reading and take some pictures when these events happen. Seeing a group of 6 cops and getting a decibel reading going up towards 90 decibels, I asked them if they could ask the DJ to turn this down slightly. And their response from the one man who spoke to me was, this has a permit. I then said they have a permit, but they don't have a license to violate the sound code. Can't you speak to them? He turned away from me and stopped speaking to me. That's it. The other 5 didn't speak to me in the first place. Then I went closer, a little bit down the street to take a decibel reading. The man next to me, coincidentally only, was also taking a decibel reading on his phone. And I think I got, okay, I didn't save that one. As I take the reading, a man comes walking up the street, violates my personal space, in my opinion, by getting too close, chose to harass me, not the guy. He walks up to me and says, "What's the matter? Don't like the music?" In that tone of voice. I said, "It's too loud." And he said, "Well, go over there." And I'm not sure if he's pointing to the west end of Dykeman Street or to New Jersey, or what exactly he meant. In fact, it's very bad advice, because you can hear this music from the playgrounds, the southern part of Inwood Hill Park, from part of Fort Tryon Park, and from the small community garden that's being destroyed by these events. But that is the attitude I have to get when I did not seek this man out and I'm in my own neighborhood. This is the way things are going. We are also, I'll just finish,
Okay.
then you're done with me. We are commonly told we're exaggerating. We are not, and that's why we all take decibel readings. We are frequently told, well, noise, I think that's code for what you really mean. This is to tell us that we're racists and no one else would complain about this music. It's not code for noise. I'm objecting to the noise. I would object if it was bagpipes, Italian opera, or Irish fiddle. It is 85 and up. People have gotten readings on 117. And I will make clear too that neighborhood groups have tried to speak to this nonprofit and tried to come to agreements and tried to set things up where we could talk about sound. This fell apart basically immediately. It's completely out of hand. The reading I get from Seaman Avenue and Cumming Street, 1 block north of the loudspeaker, 76 average, 85 decibel high. At Beacon Payson near my building, which is farther away, 66 average, 75 decibels as the high. This is about a block and a half away from the event. It's also after 8 o'clock, the time it's supposed to stop. We have also been told on one evening it went till 10 p.m. because, quote, Jeffrey Garcia said it was okay. This is why going to the police and all of these other excellent recommendations have not seemed to satisfy people in the community. We have a diner that went out of business because of this plaza. The people in the buildings are scared. It's a full-time job trying to do anything.
You're
And it
gonna,
is
yeah,
destroying this corner of the neighborhood. I will say this to anyone listening. Thank you for your patience.
thank you. I wanna be, again, this is gonna sound like a politically.
It is
skewed
also
company line.
destroying affordable housing because some of these second floor apartments are now empty and.
So-
Sorry,
Yeah,
People cannot
Yeah.
live there.
Can you
I-
clarify what is the DEP's jurisdiction about noise? I understand it's noise from vehicles, and commercial noise, so can you just clarify what
it's
is?
noise from vehicles, like, commercial noise, again, commercial music. Neighbor to neighbor noise is the NYPD. And I want to address something,
This is
Ma'am,
commercial
like-
music because it is used
Ma'am.
for the restaurants to sell food and drinks.
if I may.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I know you're frustrated and I get it. But I wanna be very clear. You're bringing up a lot of public safety related matters
And
and
health.
public realm. Sure,
Yes.
so what I would, what I can do is, first of all, I'd love to get your information. I feel like you may have emailed me because
No.
because we've been addressing this already in this past week, as recent as this past week. We've already been going back and forth with NYPD on what to do here. I actually was talking to civil enforcement with them today about this earlier on email. There are multiple agencies looking into this. I cannot speak for the NYPD. They do a great job. They are public safety partners. We do not interfere with what they're doing. I want to be very clear about that. We do work with them, but the precinct up here is aware of it from what they've told us. The civil enforcement is aware of it, and we're all looking at how we can address it. It's a multi-agency response. I don't have answers for you tonight on it, but if there needs to be, like, the community has the attention, and again, I don't want to speak for NYPD. Right, has our attention, the police department's aware. In terms of Office of Nightlife and SBS, I know they're aware, DOT's aware, like, all the agencies are aware of this. We're all trying to figure something out. With that being said. It's a gray area sometimes in terms of jurisdiction. If this was direct, like, here's an example. And this is always a gray area. It's like you have a bar, right? And then people hang out outside the bar. And then sometimes, like, that becomes the party after the bar.
Okay.
And that's,
Say with all due respect.
yeah,
They are being given permits for 6 to 8 hours.
yeah.
The music is 85 decibels. People's windows are 20 to 30 feet away from the speakers.
Yeah, I'm
This is
not trying to
totally
defend anybody's
outrageous.
behavior or not defend anybody's behavior.
This
What I'm
is
trying,
like
yeah.
a little noise when
It's not,
people
and
chat outside the
I
bar.
wanna be clear with you, as I just stated, we are working on this with multiple agencies. There wouldn't be multiple agencies involved, there wouldn't be 15 email threads involved if this was a small issue. I'm not saying we're not taking it seriously, what I'm saying is, there's a gray area. When you have people convening somewhere in between a bar and a public street or sidewalk, there's always that gray area. There's multiple levels of enforcement and jurisdictions of enforcement.
What are the legal decibel limits outdoors? Suppose the city does a concert on a street somewhere. How loud can it be?
Outside,
Yes.
I can check for you right now, but I can
Yeah.
check for you right now, or I could follow up.
Yeah.
I'd like to get your contact information, because I know it's a public meeting, there's other
Yeah.
agenda items
Okay.
that
Yeah.
people up. No, it's okay.
Okay, but I said we would like to continue this discussion at some point, because
Yeah.
we are looking at at maybe doing another resolution on this question, and
Please do.
having your input would be very useful.
Where, like, I mentioned the plaza by name before we even talked about it, because it's been coming up, so don't worry, we're looking at it, it's not.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then let me just ask you one other
Yeah.
somewhat related question.
Sure.
We had a presentation here going back maybe it's 2 years now, from a guy, could his name have been Mark Page Jr.?
Yeah, he's the noise guy. He's
Right.
one of our, he's the director of noise enforcement.
Right, oh,
Yeah,
good, so he's still
Mark's
with you.
great. He's still,
Right.
oh, he's great, yeah.
Okay, so he was talking to us about a program involving noise cameras in which you were tracking like vehicles and other
Loud noises on the, just like a speed camera.
yeah, but it was related to noise, and we had one set up in Inwood. Apparently, there was just a limited number. It was moved from Inwood to some other location. He was talking about trying to get money in the budget to buy more of those devices, and I never had a chance, I think, to connect with him again. But is that program expanding? Because I think we would again, this is a persistent problem in Washington Heights and in Inwood with people running up and down Broadway and other streets with the loudspeakers, and we would love to be able to catch them.
It's a great question. We're working on it. I don't have much to say on it right now. It's something that we had proposed to OMB.
Right.
Unfortunately, they went in a different direction.
Okay.
But it's not something that we're giving up on.
All right. So this could also be one of our budget requests. Okay.
I feel like it was in the past, no?
I know.
Yeah,
Why did we drop it? Okay, but we should pick up on it.
yeah.
Okay, very good. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, those are my questions.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Man, let's
Thank you.
follow up. All right. Okay.
Thank you for your patience.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner
So
Fatu.
much. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
All right,
Take care.
we spent a lot of time, but on this issue, but it's unusual that we have the Borough Commissioner from DEP. And it's somewhat unusual for us to be able to go into some detail about some environmental issues which are important to our community. So let's move along. Pauline Ferrante is back with us, the Borough Liaison for the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. But actually, before I allow her to speak, I got to do my latest update about COVID-19. And as I continue to say, this is a COVID-19 has not disappeared. Zip code 32 for the 28-day period between July 25th and August 21st had one of the highest rates of hospitalization for COVID-19 cases, 9.5 per 100,000 residents. The other three zip codes, interestingly enough, had basically zero hospitalizations. This appeared to be only a problem in zip code 32. However, since we last met on June the 5th, there have been 578 additional cases of COVID-19 in all four of our zip codes. And apparently they've adjusted the previous statistics regarding the number of people who have died, and they reclassified 4 of those deaths. So we now have 1,045 deaths in our Washington Heights and Inwood since the beginning of the COVID pandemic, which is somehow 4 less than the number that we had back in June. So saying that, let me turn it over to Pauline, and one of the things I asked her to address in her report tonight is the confusing situation we now have with respect to COVID vaccines. Pauline, you are with us, aren't you?
I am. Hi, good evening, everyone.
very
Happy
good.
to be back. I hope everyone had a great summer. And so I'm sorry, Steve, I don't have any information about the COVID vaccine. Can you remind me what the question was about the vaccine?
Well, the question, I think, is whether or not New York City is providing guidance. Some states and I think localities have come to the realization that we can't count on the CDC at this point, that it's been somewhat perverted by the situation in Washington, and so people are not depending upon their guidance. But the latest we understand is that the CDC has said that maybe it's okay for people over 65 to get the vaccine, but some drug store chains like CVS and Walgreens, I think, are saying that you need to have a prescription. So I don't know whether or not the city is talking to them and trying to overcome that requirement. There seems to be some conflicting advice on whether young children should be getting the vaccine, and then whether or not people in between also need to get prescriptions, or whether the vaccine is going to be made available to them. So as we seem to be in a state of flux right now as to and people don't know whether or not they're going to be able to get access to the vaccines.
Yeah, I mean, according to our information, we are still encouraging people to get vaccinated. And our website still has information for people 5 years and older, children younger than 5, and then encouraging additional doses for people ages 65 and older or with a weakened immune system. So, and I have not heard of people being turned away or being asked for prescription at any drugstore or from their doctor. Having to go to their primary care physician to get the vaccine because they can't get it anywhere else. So I don't believe that that's an issue across the 5 boroughs of New York City, but that's definitely something that I can look into.
Yeah, that's what's been reported in the press.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have not heard anything come across, community affairs with regards to this issue. And usually, our vaccine team would definitely let us know if there's any misinformation out there. So we would love to be able to, combat any confusing information. So this is helpful. I'm gonna definitely look into that
No, I
and
think
get
we
back to
really,
you.
yeah, I think we really need to count upon the city Department of Health to, give advice and let people know, what they should be doing, and then what's coming out of Washington at this point is so negative towards vaccines that, I think we need to have a stronger message coming out of the city.
Right. Yeah. I mean, our policy team is working really, really hard every day to sort of figure out what the federal government is doing and how that impacts us. So I will definitely reach out to folks here and then I'll circle back right away. I'll send
Yeah,
you an
please.
email
And
as soon as I get
please
information.
let us know how the community board might be helpful.
Yes, definitely in disseminating information for sure.
Yes. All right. So our next the next topic I had for you was Legionnaire's disease, and even though we were not part of the thankfully not part of the Harlem area that was subjected to this outbreak, it was except if you maybe traveled into Harlem, is actually one of our committee members works in Harlem. It was somewhat disturbing. This was the second largest outbreak of Legionnaire's disease in I think New York City history, with 7 fatalities and 114 cases overall. And of course, the worst part of it was to find out that that the cooling towers that were creating this problem were in city-owned buildings and in a hospital of all things, in hospital-related buildings. So,
Right.
I'm wondering, what are we doing to make sure that people are actually inspecting their cooling towers, and I guess we got to make sure that the hospitals themselves are doing it, and that they can't really be complacent about this, that it can actually happen in hospitals as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, OC, did you have a question? Your hand was up about the previous conversation before I move on.
Oh, well, thank you. I missed that.
No problem.
OC,
No,
OC,
I do have 2 questions and it's not related to your previous,
okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
I'll wait.
Okay, thank you, OC.
Great. Yeah, so I mean, you're right. After the Bronx situation in, I believe it was 2019,
Well, it might have been earlier than that.
2018. There was a
Yeah. 2015, maybe
2015. Okay, the Bronx situation happened in 2015, and then Harlem unfortunately had another situation
Oh, yes. Yes.
in 2019 where it was much smaller.
Yes.
But it was also at that point, Harlem Hospital was identified, I believe, as the cooling tower in that particular situation as well. But after
just briefly, I think the building that was identified there was an affordable housing development at the intersection of 155th and St. Nicholas. also in many ways a respected,
Communities,
what?
housing communities.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Oh, I was
yes,
gonna say,
right.
also a respected public
Yes,
building in its
yes,
own way.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
I think that was 898 St. Nicholas, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that way.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think the situation with Legionnaire's disease is that it is a bacteria that is very common in the environment. And unfortunately, if you don't stay on top of, cleaning and maintenance, it can grow very rapidly. And when it comes to cooling towers, people inside the building might not be affected as much, but people walking in the community, as they're out and about breathing in the air, they're the ones who are being exposed to this. And so that makes it even more scary because you could just be walking through the neighborhood at any particular day. And maybe your immune system is not strong that particular, moment. And, you encounter the bacteria and then you come down with this pneumonia. So I think out of this particular our latest investigation, I know that a lot of proposals are being implemented or are being discussed. And I know there's going to be a city council hearing where they might add additional legislation that came out of the 2015 Bronx investigation. Because of that particular situation, we had the most robust sort of monitoring and requiring of cooling towers to be registered through the Department of Buildings, and then for building owners to submit all their information about biannual cleanings. But of course, it appears that, more needs to be done. And so I know that there's a lot of conversations about expanding the city's capacity and, obviously the health department's capacity to physically and go inspect the cooling towers. We do have teams that do that. But again, a lot of that information that we receive from buildings are that they hire their vendors to do the cleaning and do the testing, and they send those results to us.
The first deputy mayor has announced that additional people are going to be hired for the health department to expand your capacity to inspect the cooling towers citywide.
Yeah,
And,
I think the
yeah.
issue, unfortunately, sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to cut you off. A lot of it is that, it's a very specialized job description. And so it's really difficult to fill a lot of our inspector positions, especially in our water safety team. And then also, like, our salaries are not the most competitive. And so it's just really difficult for us to find people. So, I mean, if you are able to share that there are lots of available positions at the health department, and if you happen to have, one of these specialized, like, degrees where it would fit for you to be, an inspector for these types of things, I think it would be really amazing. But of course, our labs need people, and across the board, our agency has a lot of open positions. So, if we could get that word out that we're hiring, that would be great. A lot of the issue also is that the process to get onboarded in the city takes a really long time. And so people might get hired and be really excited. But then it takes a couple of months for them to start. And like by that time, who can wait months to start a new job? And so they go out and find other jobs. And so, like, getting people hired and onboarded has been a real struggle for our agency, and I'm sure other agencies in the city. But hopefully that can change, and maybe talking to OMB about speeding up the process would be really helpful as well. But you didn't hear from me, even though this is being recorded.
Yeah, all right, well, we'll forget about that for the moment. And apparently the administration is also talking about, as I think you alluded to, changing the law so that building owners would have to check on their cooling towers every month, every 30
Yes.
days,
Yep.
rather than the current 90-day requirement.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the original 90-day requirement was because, during not hot season or not, time, not when the air conditionings or internal air conditioning systems are on, it really wouldn't impact. But I think that also means that people neglected their cooling towers during those periods. And
Yeah.
so when they started them up again, you know, potentially there was buildup of bacteria within those water sources. So I think having buildings be more mindful and active about cleaning and maintaining their cooling towers is essential. And then also the registration of cooling towers. I think that really helped us in this particular case because our teams were able to identify, you know, due to the previous legislation of registering cooling towers, we were able to identify all of the cooling towers within that neighborhood and deploy our inspectors to go and physically conduct inspections and to issue the commissioner's orders for them to immediately clean and disinfect. So that in that regard, the previous legislation really helped, but of course, everyone obviously believes more can be done. And so hopefully with new measures, this won't happen again.
Yeah, I was in touch with one of the officials at New York Presbyterian the other day concerning some renovations they're doing to open up the old reopen the psych unit at the Allen Hospital, and she told me that one of the reasons that they're still working on it is because they found the Legionnaire's bacteria inside that unit that's undergoing renovation. But that presumably is not really an issue for the public because it doesn't get disseminated in the air that we all breathe, and it then I guess is not that much of an issue.
So there are two types of Legionnaires investigations that we conduct. So one would be an internal building investigation where it's the internal hot water system of a building that is the issue. And so that's the typical one that you would usually hear from me about, like, we're investigating this building because 2 people within a 12-month period were diagnosed within that address to come down with Legionnaire's disease. And so that immediately triggers our team to go start sampling, working with the building to remediate and to identify the problem. That's just building specific and internal to that particular building, where the residents or, you know, the tenants in that building are more vulnerable and susceptible. And then there's this community cluster situation where it's the cooling towers that are emitting you know, the bacteria in the mist that the cooling towers are putting out into the environment. And so it's less the people inside, you know, Harlem Hospital, for example, or inside that building that's at risk. It's more the people outside in the community that are at risk. Yeah. So those are the two different types of investigations. So for Central Harlem, it was the latter. It was the cooling towers and a community cluster.
All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Richard has a question.
Comment as much as question. I very much appreciate what Ms. Ferrati just presented. Those are all really good next steps. But I'm going to also take this opportunity to express with just plain raw anger over how this played out. The information didn't come out at a point that it was relevant to saving health and saving lives. I don't think that falls on the Department of Health any more than it falls on elected officials who are in a position to do that. But relatively early in the process, it's my understanding 12 buildings were identified as, you know, I may be off on the number, as potential sites that some bacteria had been discovered in their cooling towers. Harlem Hospital was identified later in the process through some investigation as the source of the infecting bacteria. But that information needed to be public information 30 seconds after it became available. I work for an organization that manages 3 senior centers within the impacted zip codes. We don't need to know the individual immune situation. Seniors are that vulnerable a group. And I walk down that street quite regularly, and I guess I count myself lucky at this time. But the communication systems on this at both the agency and elected official levels really needs to be looked at. And if it takes state legislation to make that happen, given that our state legislators were more active advocates on this than our local legislators, then maybe that's the place that all of us need to go on the next steps on this. Looking back to 2015, that outbreak in the Bronx, what little I knew about it was there was some breakdown in elected official communication at that point. I think the focus was probably a little more on the mayor's community affairs unit at that point, which had responsibility on this, and just plain dropped the ball. So for all the good suggestions that you just put on the table, all of them need to happen. I'm glad to hear that the health department is thinking in that way, but the communication strategies need to be looked at just as much.
Understood. Thank you. And OC, I know you had your hand up, so
Yeah.
any questions?
Yeah, I guess my first $1 million question about the rabies, if there are any.
Oh, yes.
And
There are
this-
none, thankfully, but I can pull up my
Great.
map.
That's great. And while you do that, I just had a text message from the person, the individual that are trying to report about the roosters. So there is a
Yes.
new rooster, a
Oh,
young
no.
rooster on
Oh.
Arden Street.
Wait, the same location?
Yes, being
Oh,
held by the same individual. It's a young rooster. So I think it's will be great if he can be removed sooner rather than later.
absolutely. I will circle back with our vet team and get in contact with the local precinct.
Thank
How
you.
frustrating. I'm so sorry.
Oh, my God.
Well, here is our map as of August 15th. So as you can see, our little furry raccoon friends and our little bat friend in Queens have been causing issues, but thankfully Manhattan and the Bronx have been pretty good.
All right. And what can you tell us about flu?
So I don't have any information about flu just yet, but flu season is approaching. So we are encouraging everyone to go and get their flu shot. I know that we do partner with organizations that have access to like a local pharmacy that they could partner with to get some extra flu shots to be able to provide to the community. There's a process that we do that. So if you know of any organizations that are interested, but also have a connection to a local pharmacy that can work through our team, you can send that information my way and I can try to work on that. But I don't have any major announcements for flu just yet.
Okay, but there is a new flu vaccine that's now available. I have an appointment to get my flu shot on the 16th. So
good.
So
You're ahead of the curve, Steve.
well, don't try to flatter me. Do we have any other questions for Pauline?
You
Okay.
wanted me to look into let me
Oh
just
my God, yes, yeah.
And flu, if I can.
Oh, 1 second. Richard is on flu.
still on flu. Yes, of course. I'm happy to look into it. I will definitely find out if there is a new flu vaccine that is available.
Oh, there must be. But Richard has a different question, I think.
Yeah, related. Do you know anything about this year's supply? Whether there's an adequate supply to go through the whole flu season? I mean, I'm one of those folks who actually prefers to wait a little longer than Steve does, just because the greatest impacts of flu are, I think, December, January, and February, and having a vaccine that hasn't started to wear off, somehow I see as an asset. So I'm just wondering what you may know about available supply.
I will ask our vaccination team what they know about the supply chain for the vaccine this year.
Okay, so very good. Did you have a chance to look into this rumor that I passed on to you that the health department is planning to completely vacate the district health center building at 600 West 168th Street and maybe
Yeah, so the TB center has been closed since COVID, and the city and I think Columbia did agree that Columbia would now reclaim the building. I think that was the term that was used. I'm not 100% sure. But it is
I'm sorry, it's not us, it's NYP.
NYP, yeah.
Yeah.
But so New York Presbyterian and the city, so not the health department, but the city in general, worked out something where we as the health department would vacate that space, but that space has been not functional for us anyway since COVID. So I believe in the deal, the NYP will be looking for a similar or larger space in the community to provide DOHMH, so that we can reopen a TB clinic. This is all as of now an agreement. I don't know whether or not it's like signed into, you know, a contract or anything. But this is sort of the conversation that is happening.
So DOH would have some alternate space in the community, but only for a TB clinic. There's no chance that you would reopen the child health clinic that used to be in that building and the other services that you also had there?
I am not familiar with any of the other services that were available, or whether the new space that is being proposed, or they're looking to find new space, whether or not that would include other services. I'm happy to find out. But again, all of this is sort of just conversation, to my understanding. So I will definitely look into this further and share more information with you as it becomes more clear.
Right. Well, we certainly would like anxious to hear what's going on, and would appreciate getting whatever updates you can provide to us. This is this is sort of almost like stop the presses. This is big news to some extent. Now, what about the plan that you had to repair the facade of the building?
So I mean, that would still be under DDC jurisdiction, you know, since the city, it's a city owned building. DDC would be the contractor to do that. And so I think it was supposed to be under design review for this last year. And then moving forward, I guess they would work closely with NYP on sort of how the facade work would go.
All right.
Since DOHMH will no longer be in the building.
All right. Well, we're going to probably question you about this again, but you know, so we can get fully informed of what's going on. Appreciate you getting the info. So I don't think we have any other questions for Pauline. Very good. Thank you. And we'll be looking forward to your further updates and whatever information you can gather about the COVID vaccines.
Yes, we'll do it. And the flu vaccine. I will get back to you as soon as possible.
Yes, on flu. Yes, can't forget about flu. All right, thank you very much. All right, next up is oh, how appropriate, is our report from New York Presbyterian Hospital. Julio Batista, our community affairs liaison. Julio, do you have anything to tell us about this?
Thank you, Steve.
You have anything to tell us about the District Health Center building?
Find out, like Pauline, and so circle back in terms of what you know, what is being said. So
Yeah, please.
So definitely we'll do that. Take some notes on it.
Okay.
And we'll follow up.
All right, thanks.
So on the COVID numbers,
Oh, the COVID. 1 second. COVID. Yeah, go ahead.
So first of all, welcome back for the summer break. Although it feels like it's winter in here, so it's extremely cold. But good to be here.
Okay.
So in terms of the COVID numbers, hospital-wide, meaning throughout the network,
Yes.
we have a total of 85 COVID patients. At the Columbia Allen Hospital, we have a total of 26, which is broken down to 6 at the Allen, 14 at Milstein, and 6 at the Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital.
So, okay, so 26 of the 85 are here in Washington, I said,
Yeah.
six is,
Which is important to the board here.
yeah, so six at Allen, 14 at Milstein, and 6 at Children's Hospital.
Correct, yeah.
Any age breakdown on that?
Well, you have, so you have 20 that are adults and 6 that are under 16. I don't have it broken down to the age itself. I know it's past 9, so I'll be brief as well. Just a couple other things is as you know, the Beacon project continues to evolve.
Well,
As we came last time.
The Beacon project is the cancer building,
160, right.
Okay.
The ambulatory cancer building on 165th
right?
and for Washington Avenue. As we reported, as Amador, when the vice president came and reported, the traffic mitigation, those measures have been put in place. They moved the parking spots that were there on the corner between 165th, between for Washington and Broadway. They also cordoned off during the traffic lane, so the trucks themselves, as reported, could go into the project itself and not have to back up and create more traffic. The traffic agents that were assigned there will continue to be there through the duration of the project, and the 2 on 165th, which is one further north from there. Another thing I want to report is that I know some of you are very interested in, because you've seen construction over at Coogan's, the old Coogan space.
Yes,
There is work taking place there. A restaurant tour has been identified and a contract has been signed. That will be made public hopefully next week with an announcement with the restaurant tour that will go out to the community in terms of what it is. It's not gonna be a bakery, because some folks are, been asking me, is it gonna be a bakery? It's gonna be a restaurant.
Okay.
And so that will be, that will be made public hopefully next week. The other issue I spoke to, spoke to you, Steve, about, and is your interest, was on the issue of health first.
yes,
It is a very complicated issue. I still don't fully understand it. They are in discussions. I know that we're talking this week. I know that the narrative out there has been that that we're not renewing or not in discussions, but we are. The hospital is trying to work out whatever differences there are, but as I said, it's very complicated. And heaven forbid something, the contract were to expire, we'll continue to work with our patients. Those are our priorities, to ensure that they continue to see their providers. And it's, as I said, very complicated because, my mother is health first. And I say complicated because she has an appointment that's past the deadline here,
with the deadline being November 3rd.
November 3rd, and apparently after speaking with the doctor and the client, that appointment continues without issues. So as I said, I'm not sure what the specific details are, but it's very complicated, matter.
Okay, but as you know, Health First put out a statement which has created, I think, a lot of panic among its members, and among other things, it says that in the fall of 2024, just last year, Health First and New York Presbyterian agreed to a multi-year contract that was to be in effect through 2027. And yet the hospital then notified them that it wants to terminate that contract, and they say without cause, effective this November 3rd. So do we have any idea why can you tell us why the hospital has decided to terminate the contract 2 years early?
As I said, Steve, it's very complicated. I don't fully understand it. And, again, there are discussions taking place, and
Right.
hopefully before the November deadline, a resolution will be had.
All right, all right, well, certainly we hope it's satisfactorily resolved to the mutual satisfaction of both parties. And then that nobody loses their health insurance as a result of this dispute. All right, do you have anything to report to us about the construction of the new building at 169th to 170th Street?
So that demolish, the demolition has already taken place. It's, so reported earlier, I think it's something that, Sandra and us have to sort of,
So
discuss further. The agreement, my understanding is that, as reported earlier, was that the hospital, who owned the property, was gonna demolish the site. And once that's done, we'll pass that on to the university to be able to construct. I'm not sure that's at this point, how far along that's, sort of been addressed, but.
Okay, so
We can follow.
so that'll be a question shortly.
Well, I think it's something I could come back and, we'll have a discussion, and be able to report back to this committee.
Okay, but maybe now the ball is in Sandra's court. If it's now, if it's now being taken over by Columbia, Columbia's actually gonna do the.
I'm shooting the ball. Yes.
Okay, so we'll get to you in a moment.
Yeah.
Hold on to that ball. And then do you have anything else to report on?
No, that's really for now.
That's it? All right,
Good
so,
question.
okay, we have a question from from one of our attendees, but Richard, go ahead.
This is a question that most of the answer belongs in another committee, but you mentioned the transportation issues around construction. Question to you and to Sandra, is there anything ongoing to deal with the traffic issues in the medical center area? And I think when I say that, I think especially about Fort Washington Avenue, a recent experience. I was on an M4 bus that to go the block from 165th to 168th to 26 minutes. I was over there after an event earlier today, and both of you were at that event too, and Fort Washington was just gridlocked at that point.
No, I agree with you. I mean, Fort Washington has always been a challenge. And it's a challenge because, not just because of pressure. I think at this point, we're trying to mitigate this by in terms of the new construction, the measures that we're taking to ensure that the trucks won't back up and create more of a problem. But also, I think, placing the traffic agents on the corners does help. But I agree with you. It's always been a very, very bad challenge. And also, it's also a matter of enforcement.
I understand that.
And
If there's a place to have that discussion, I might want to add some structural suggestions, the infrastructure suggestions as well.
All right.
Yeah,
but-
Richard,
you-
I would add to that it is a matter of enforcement. We have made best efforts in terms of adding traffic agents. And it's not just, the construction. There are days when we have the market. The track meets at the Armory are very intense days, all the way down to Riverside Drive. So we do need a little help from NYPD and enforcement. And I know parking is a challenging issue, but remember that this is a hospital setting. So can you imagine not just being on this bus, but our ambulances trying to get through to the emergency room? So it is still something that we need to continue to look at in that.
Okay,
area.
Sandra, you're out of order. So you haven't been called upon, and you're just gonna have to wait your turn. Ms. Beal has a question. Are you free to talk? She can talk, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for taking my comments. For the New York Presbyterian, just so that you're aware, the roughly estimated reach is 180,000 people estimated for Washington Heights and Inwood. My mother
I'm sorry,
personally is.
Are you talking now about the Health First members?
Yes, apologies regarding Health First.
Okay, go ahead.
This is quite stunning to me that we're finding ourselves with a lot of misinformation, that such a large percentage of our population, mostly Latinos, are finding themselves having discussions as, what am I going to do after September? Because my mother received a letter saying September 30th, that's it. Any other appointments after that, you're on your own. So these are discussions that families are having. It's affecting my retired mom. she worked for the city for decades, and she's finding herself trying to find providers for serious health issues, trying to find new providers,
Oh,
which
God.
is really unfair.
Yes.
And that's just one anecdote. So
And the
it's
letter
important.
and the letter that
Yes.
she received said to September 30th was the
Yes,
cutoff
sir.
date?
Yes, sir.
Because the letter I'm looking at from Health First says November 3rd.
I
Wow.
believe it might have come from New York Presbyterian. So there might be a communications gap. I can try and find the letter and provide it so that you could have
Yeah, please. Yes.
evidence. It's evidence-based, of course.
Yes.
But this is, I think New York Presbyterian needs to do a better job of communicating ongoing discussions, talking to the community. We've made a lot of concessions to New York Presbyterian, and I personally was very disappointed in their response during COVID. Essentially, they were forced to provide vaccinations to our community, embarrassed to do so. They were embarrassed in order to action and provide coverage, vaccination coverage to us. That's my personal opinion. And I think this is just going to give them not great PR to have this issue drawn out and having all these people without certainty and without coverage. So I think it's in their best interest to be as transparent as possible. I understand negotiations are sensitive. I understand they are for profit. I understand that this
Well,
is
they're not. Well,
complex.
they're not supposed to be for profit.
It's my understanding.
This is
Maybe
supposed to be a
I'm
nonprofit
wrong.
institution. I mean, they're most likely arguing over money. That's for sure. But they shouldn't be doing it from a standpoint of trying to make money or to make a profit, so to speak. But what does concern me is the idea that the hospital and Health First are giving out different dates for when this agreement would expire. That's a real problem. So if you can find that letter, I'd appreciate it.
Will do. And just lastly, sorry, the New York Presbyterian is a fantastic institution. I want to just add that it has great. I was born there. They have great programs, but they need to do better. They need to do better. They need to do right by the community. They're an anchor institution. Do I need to benchmark them against other anchor institutions? Do I really have to go there? They need to do better. Communicate, send information, tell the affected parties the same way you can send a billing statement, the same way you can send other documentation. Post it, send letters, tell your people this is what's happening. Sorry, and that's the end of it.
Well, all of their patients are part of that computer system. What is it called again? My what?
My Connect, and My Chart.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah. So they can get. They have access. They can easily send out updated information. You know something? I hope at some point I get a chance to meet you. You really sound like a great person and a good person to know, and somebody who should maybe be at some point become a member of this community board. So I appreciate the fact that you joined us tonight.
No, thank you for your time. You guys are incredible. Thank you. Following your lead.
Again, Steve, we just like to reiterate that the patients, our patients, we will work with every single patient to ensure that they continue to see the doctors.
What do you mean, even after the agreement expired?
Supporting them with perhaps going into another plan, but to continue to see those doctors that they're accustomed to.
Okay, but they're not getting that message. I mean, look at this woman right now is frantically trying to find a different provider.
Yeah, listen, I know people who are Health First. I've not seen that letter. I'm not saying that it doesn't go out, but I've not seen that letter.
Oh, okay. All right, well, let's try to get to the bottom of this. All right, thank you very much. Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna, it seems like this would be an appropriate time to call upon the New York State Nurses Association. Is it Sophia who's here?
Yes.
So Sophia Boland is a registered nurse, and she's gonna give us an update about the issue that we dealt with here back in the spring about nurses and others, maybe as many as 1,000 staff being laid off by the hospital. So you're going to give us an update on where things stand now?
Yes, So I'm an Eisen delegate and a nurse at MFP.
Yeah, one second.
Could you actually come up here and
Yeah.
so the folks online can hear you? Sorry.
And you're gonna have to spell out the NICE.
Sure. And New York State Nurses Association?
Yeah, that's what I meant, yes.
Okay. So I'm a New York State Nurses Association delegate and a nurse at New York Presbyterian. I work in the pediatric hospital. So I'm here to give some updates and some issues that we're facing at New York Presbyterian. So as you mentioned, the layoffs that occurred during Nurses Week. So 20 RNs with experience ranging from 6 months to 18 years were told that they were being laid off. One of the nurses took the layoff. There were 6 probationary RNs that were laid off or bumped from their position, so newly hired RNs. 3 of them were able to take vacant positions elsewhere in the hospital. 3 of them chose to take the layoffs. 15 nurse
So
practitioners.
did they get like severance pay or how did that work?
So yes, they were negotiated severance pay.
Yeah, okay.
15 NP positions were eliminated with experience ranging from 6 months to 35 years. 11 were able to be placed in other positions elsewhere in the hospital. 8 of them were relocated to different NP positions. 1 of them became a nurse educator, and 2 chose to take bedside RN positions because they were close to retirement age, and all salaries were redlined as needed. 4 of them chose to take the layoff. So overall, we had 8 layoffs. In addition to closed services, we had the adult palliative care unit, which was closed. We had NPs in pediatric, intermediate care. That practice was completely eliminated. NP and EMU was eliminated, cardiology, pre-admission testing. And so when all of these nurse practitioner practices were eliminated, there was really no plan for how coverage was going to transfer. So there was a lot of uncertainty on where the burden of their loss would fall. For the postpartum.
Wasn't there another unit that we were also concerned about that might also close?
The rehab unit back?
No,
months
but
ago?
because of these layoffs.
No, that was the palliative care
It
unit.
was the palliative care, okay.
Yeah, that was a newly opened unit that closed, and those nurses were laid off.
And what happened, Nick, what happened to that nurse who spoke about that unit to us last time? What? She had been with that unit for years and was very emotional about the fact that she would no longer have contact or the ability to work with those patients.
She was definitely, she was reassigned. I forgot her name, but I follow.
In the pediatric intermediate care unit.
Yeah.
The nurse practitioner, yeah. Yeah, she was relocated.
Well, to another position.
Um,
And I'm sorry, no, those who were reassigned to new positions, were they kept at the same salary levels?
yes.
Oh.
So in our postpartum unit, we had layoffs as well. And so the layoffs were announced after disrupting people's lives and firing probationary members. All of them were offered their jobs back on the unit because they realized they had vacancies. So it was just this totally unnecessary disruption of patient care in people's lives.
Which unit was it?
This is it's the
postpartum
unit is
unit?
called 5-6 Central. It's the postpartum unit.
Okay.
Um,
So people were laid off and then rehired?
yes. So those are the updates on where we stand as far as layoffs. I do have some updates on our rehab partial closure.
Oh, very good.
So we were hopeful that
You get extra credit for this.
we were hopeful that the DOH pressure from the community and electeds would prevent New York Presbyterian from reducing inpatient rehab services.
Sure.
Although it appears they will be proceeding with closures. We're supposed to hear about what the DOH has announced in meetings forthcoming.
So, so there was a decision from DOH
We
about,
just heard today that they've heard back from the DOH and are proceeding.
Julio, can you confirm that? Is that true?
I'll check tomorrow, but my understanding is the same, that there was an approval for the partial closure.
Oh, so that it would just have 5 beds? Oh, great, okay.
And then the third thing is we are beginning our bargaining. with New York Presbyterian. We look forward to strengthening our staffing enforcement to ensure that our community is well cared for.
Well, we expect nothing less. But
I have a question.
would you mind writing this up of all of those numbers you gave us on the layoffs?
I can email this to you.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little difficult to follow it all, but I really, really appreciate you taking the time to pull that information together. And you know, often, you know, we pass these resolutions and we don't really know what the hell happened, but it's good. Even though much of it is bad news, it's good to hear that at least people are still working within the hospital, and some of them were even able to keep their old positions even though they were then laid off, had been laid off. It's like a great it's like, what is that?
Okay.
It's not like a catch-22, but it's something bizarre. OC, you have a question?
Yeah, I want to know if the nurses that got rehired, did they lose any seniorities, benefits, and so forth?
No, they were able to negotiate no loss of seniority or benefits.
Well, very good.
Great.
That's good.
All right, and we've been joined by another committee board member, actually our first vice chair, Anthony Viola. Anthony.
Hi, just for clarification, you opened with during Nurse Week, there was that initial set of layoffs and 20 were RNs.
Yes.
But only one took the layoff. So does that mean that the other 19 get reassigned?
Correct.
Okay. And do they get reassigned in like generally a similar type of work environment?
Ideally, but not necessarily. They're offered whatever vacant positions are available, and then if they would like to take a position for which they're not, they don't have the experience or the qualification, they're given the opportunity to gain that.
How long approximately does it take to get reassigned?
It depends, for the RNs, it's relatively quick. For the NPs, it's taken a lot longer because they have to be re-credentialed. That process takes usually around 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So it just depends on the circumstance.
And then 3-month period, what do you do?
So we were able to get NYP to agree to an expedited credentialing process. And then we were able to allow them to continue their pay through their credentialing.
All right, very good. All right, thank you very much. One second.
Yes, Steve, I'd just like to add, I mean, it's, you know, it's terrible what happened, and I think we all agree. But I also like to say that in addition to the nursing staff and those layoffs, you know, that so the climate that we're living in now impacted all of us. Not just clinical staff, but also frontline staff and administrative staff. So, you know, it's unfortunate it's happening. It's not something that, you know, one wants to happen. But it's measures that were taken, unfortunately. But you know, again, what happened with the layoffs happened across the board throughout the hospital.
All right, but I don't, it just always seems as though things could have been handled better. And especially when people are put through the trauma of being laid off, only then to be rehired anyway for the same positions. I now recognize Nicholas Artur, who is an employee of the New York State Nurses Association. What is organizer?
Yes, I just want to add, as Sophie mentioned, we started bargaining. We're going to start bargaining actually next Wednesday with NYP, and we'd like to put it out to the community that we'd like to rent space to hold those bargaining sessions. So
you would like to do what?
We'd like to rent space to hold those bargaining sessions.
What
Open
kind of space do you need?
You can't hold them in the hospital?
If we'd like to have it off, like on a, I guess, what you call, neutral ground. So,
But these would be sessions in which you would sit down with the hospital
yeah,
officials?
so we'd have to hold like maybe 30 to 40 people, have a breakout room for caucusing, stuff like that.
Okay, let's think about that. There must be some place, there's gotta be places you can use.
I'll suggest.
Okay, he already has a suggestion. All right, very good. All right, thank you, Sophia. Okay, next. Now it's Sandra Harris's turn. And Sandra is Oh, gosh, Vice President for, what is it, Community Affairs and Engagement, Partnership Engagement, I don't know, it's a title too long to fit on anybody's business card.
I work for Steve. I work for Steve. I
No,
think
that'll be the-
I'll let
that'll
Diego
be the
just I'll just talk about some of the brief update that in terms of our building and construction activities, and Diego will I think he already shared some of the program updates. So since we mentioned the medical no, actually we were talking about the 169th Street building. So the university will be building student housing on that site. We are at this stage at schematic designs and holding conversations with our student population just to assess needs and a host of other layouts and design. We're still also aggressively fundraising as well for the building. We will be coming to the board just to share some of the designs and updates as soon as those are approved and ready. So just so that you have a sense of how the site is going to be used, the university will build the housing, the hospital will maintain the retail space.
Oh.
And parking garage will be also on that side. Our uses will be for student residential. And
by students, do you mean the medical school students?
these are our medical students, our entire campus, medical, public health for all of our four schools.
All of the schools.
Yes, so we're currently looking at 400, ideally 400, we're into 418, for 418 for 20 beds. But that's still in schematic designs. We're looking at also student needs. As you know, we also have fellows and PhD students that come with families. So we're looking at ways of maximizing the space for those uses.
So it's not going to be your traditional college dormitory.
No. I mean, remember that we're the graduate campus. So we our students are not 18, most of them. So we don't have campus like dormitory as we do at the Morningside campus. No.
And what is the current schedule for when when are you actually going to go into construction and how long will it take?
So we don't have those dates yet. Right now, as you know, the hospital demolished the site. We presented the proposal to our trustees and we're now looking at fundraising. As you may have known from the media, we've been in aggressive conversations about our research funding future with government. So we've been multitasking on many of these fronts.
I meant to oh gosh, I meant to talk about that, but go ahead with your
So
report.
that's on our medical on our student residence building. We're also, if you have noticed, our Barnes and Noble bookstore has closed.
Yes.
We are looking at local bids for local vendors in the community to do a Sept cafe store study area in there. We have received 3 or 4 bids from local businesses and we hope to, they're now in the process of doing all that great tasting and other stuff that we do with students, employees, and so on. So we hope to have a selection sometime in the fall.
So this will be a locally based vendor as opposed to like a Starbucks or something?
Oh, yeah, we don't do, no Starbucks will be in there. No. I mean, we have to, with our spaces, again, we have to look at our student needs and what's really affordable for our students. So they can afford an $8 coffee from Starbucks. So just looking at those needs and hoping that, you know, the local vendors are able to come in at a reasonable cost as well.
All right, well, that'll be interesting news.
Yeah. Another update that I have is on our Vagelos Innovation Building, right across on Audubon and 167. Construction is on target. We're scheduled to open in fall of 2026. We are inviting tours of individuals and community groups. We hosted a local high school to go in there and just take a view in terms of the construction site and talk a little bit about the buildings, amenities, meaning I'm not sure we're the first, Azia. We were trying to decide that if we will be the first all-electric building in New York City in full compliance with Local 197. I think we are. At least that's what the news, the press coverage has said. But
And I'm
pretty
sorry,
interesting stuff.
I'm sorry, which
This is-
building is this?
This is 167, our Vagelos Innovation Labs. This will be laboratory space. This is right on Audubon, next to our School of Nursing.
How the hell did I miss this? It's
You missed this because we went to the land use committee and we did this great presentation there. And I'm not sure that was carried over to the general meeting, but we would be happy to come to this committee and really invite the committee and others who want to join for a tour of the building as well, the construction site.
So this is this is between 167 and 168?
Yes.
Oh,
This is right, you could walk right outside, Steve, and we actually, right
Okay.
across the street, yes.
all right, and this is also named for Vagelos?
Yes, this was
Okay.
a Vagelos donation for the future of science. There will actually be a dedicated community space in the lower level to really host some of our pathway programs on site and also for community science and innovation engagement.
So it's for people who are doing research projects?
This is wet lab space. So we'll have about 30 investigators on this building, and it has in science, there's these spaces, these innovation labs where scientists can sort of come together, connect and innovate. So it's really designed to promote cross-research collaboration, but it is strictly wet lab space, yes.
Oh, okay.
And you said, Sandra, this is scheduled to open in the spring of 2026?
Fall of 2026, yeah.
Okay.
We're about to do the what do they call it? The top, I'm not a construction person.
Top out.
The topping off or something?
Yes, you got it. The topping off.
We follow.
And I wanted to push, and actually I will send the link. We actually have the whole phase of the construction, so you could see all the deliveries. I'll share that link for us to bring to you. It's pretty interesting, all that work that went in there, and I'm happy to report that we did our best to minimize street closures and interruptions and pushed a lot of that to the weekend, and now we're only waiting for the top hat and literally just those two top floors. Pretty impressive.
I'd say you guys did well. Steve didn't even notice.
Yeah.
I'm telling. In any time we could have one past Steve, we're doing great.
All right, but at some point, maybe you should come back and give us a more detailed presentation.
I have to check our minutes because I actually think we did get a presentation
Really?
from them on this.
I presented, I know we did a full one at land use, and I presented, I think I did, because I remember some of the questions.
Because I distinctly remember like seeing diagrams for the lab layouts, which I found particularly fascinating. So I feel like we've talked about this.
All right, well, maybe in the spring we'll get an update.
We'll get an update, and definitely an invitation to the opening ribbon cutting.
All right, very good.
Okay.
Anything else?
A few other updates as well, just to follow up on Sandra's update as well.
One second now. 1 second. You haven't been properly introduced.
Of course.
So this is
Diego.
So this is Diego Quintuna, who's the Community Affairs Liaison? No, 1 second.
Part of the team.
He's the Community Affairs Coordinator for the Columbia University Irving Medical Center.
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. Good evening. So just a few other updates as well. So we did computer SSYEP Summer Youth Employment Program for this year. We hosted 74 youth that have participated in the program, and they all gained hands-on experience across 56 departments at Columbia University Urban Medical Center. And we also collaborated with the School of Nursing, which hosted a CPR and Stop the Bleed certification class. And 35 of those SYEPs participated and will earn and have earned those certifications for those trainings. Also for our Bakersfield scholarships, 32 scholarships were awarded across 3 sports: tennis, soccer, and the Little Lions. And the youths that participated in these scholarships were between the 6 and 11 years old. Upcoming events as well. So we do have a CPR and drug overdose response free training on September 6th at Haven Plaza from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And this will essentially teach community members essential life-saving skills, including hands-on only CPR, AED use, and how to administer a Narcan in the event of an opioid overdose. And participants will also receive free giveaways as well. And a public safety team, the community engagement team are hosting a Ride Your Bike to Campus. And this will be on September 12th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Haven Plaza as well. And also a quick update as well of a study conducted by the Columbia University Mailman School of Public Health. This study reports evidence of a link between prenatal exposure to the widely used insecticide chlorpyrifos. If I said that right, I'm so sorry. And this study claims that there are structural brain abnormalities as well as poor motor function to young children. And this study did target about 270 children and adolescents that have participated in the Columbia Center for Children's Environmental Health. And most of these were Latino and African American youth. And these are just a few other updates
very good, thank you. But this last one, the abnormalities resulted from exposure to a pesticide?
Insecticide, chlorpyrifos.
And is this one of those things that we've been concerned about that's being sold out on the streets?
That's a good question. I will have to go back to you on that.
Yeah, I don't think it's linked to that one. This is part of the Children's Environmental Health Center studies with WEACT. So as you know, these study is a longitudinal studies where we work with pregnant moms and we look at household pesticides and usage of these products within the home and then follow the child throughout. So
okay, but this could be one of those illegal or unsanctioned insecticides that are being hawked out on the streets, no?
We can check back with the PI on that.
Yeah.
Most likely
Yes.
in that event, a lot of what we do, as you know, is with WEACT, work on that advocacy and also with infectious disease in terms of how do we get this information out into the community. And by the way, we still have, unfortunately, the pesticides still out there. We did work with Carmen de la Rosa in sort of putting a lot of PSAs. We held a few press conferences, but I personally have walked in the community and see them still out there with the street vendors. It's a major issue in our community.
And the state attorney general's office recently had a meeting at the Y about this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's still out there, and they're open and they have it right in the tables right next to where they're selling, you know, some of the nutrients and other, So it's
All right,
still a
but-
major issue. It needs to be.
Okay, well, I'd be curious to know whether or not this particular product is in that category.
Yeah, we could
But
follow up
listen,
with that.
but listen, we back in the spring, we spent a lot of time with Ross coming here talking about the threat to Columbia and the cutoff of the federal funding and the impact it had on the research work taking place up here at the medical center. And so over the summer, Columbia reached a settlement with the federal government, and the New York Times ran a story last week, basically saying that the federal funding is flowing again, and saying that much of the research has now resumed.
Yeah.
Although it says Columbia's School of Public Health and the Medical Center remain in austerity mode, with fewer slots for PhD students and hiring delays caused by the original suspension of funding. There's a medical researcher, Dr. Anthony Ferranti Jr., maybe related to Pauline, a medical researcher whose Columbia lab studies obesity, is quoted as saying the effects, unfortunately, for research and the research community will be long lasting and detrimental despite any resolution at Columbia. And he says the interest from postdoctoral trainees from abroad who typically send a steady stream of emails asking to work in his lab has dwindled to a trickle.
Yeah.
The story goes on to say the agreement, which was signed on July 24th, requires that the university pay the government $200 million and change some of its policies in exchange for the restoration of research funding and the resolution of anti-Semitism allegations the administration had lodged against Columbia. According to the university, the vast majority of grants that the Trump administration terminated in March when it froze or canceled more than $400 million in funding are back in place. Columbia said it is working with the government to restore the rest. So in order to get back $400 million, you had to pay out $200 million.
Well, I won't go into the details of the millions, but I will explain to you what the restorative funds, because I think this is very important. Not all of the grants will be restored. As you know, this administration has asked or has decided not to fund any research involving diversity, equity, or inclusion, targeting certain groups, etc. So when we look at the restorations of those grants, many of the grants addressing some of the needs similar to the one we just presented today on environmental health centers and all of these challenges will be restored. So we're now looking at those grants that were restored and rehiring, and in some cases we've lost staff that left, including private investigators. So we are really looking at what our research portfolio looks like for some of these grants. So we hope to have, a better picture of what this looks like sometime at the end of the year. And also remembering as you're reading of all the changes and firings in the administration, there are also delays in setting up or restarting many of these grants because NIH has also lost staff. So there's a very slow process in getting things back in place. I know the media prints a great picture, but we're still in challenging times. I think that for and I just want to add that for School of Public Health, as you noted, many of our international grants and ICAP, those fundings have been eliminated, and we don't anticipate that it will be restored as the agency was dismantled by this administration.
Steve, may I pick up on this mailman comment here for just a moment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sam, that I wanted to go to asking some questions about mailman. You covered quite a bit. I'm wondering, have the restricted grants or lost grants or whatever also included the considerable sexual health work that has been done at mailman?
We are still, actually, my office is currently sort of sending information to the various PIs to get a better grip on all of these grants. Richard, just by the nature of the grant, I would say that they are part of those that have been terminated, and that this administration will not continue to fund. But as you know, and you read in the press, there are many institutions that are sort of battling this out in the courts, and we're making those decisions grant by grant, on a grant by grant basis as well. So it does not mean that we're gonna go walk away. We're still gonna go back and make the case for some of these grants, Richard. But these are some of the grants that have been specifically targeted by the administration.
Well, then hopefully maybe you can separately raise funding in order to support some of the grants that are no longer getting federal support.
Yeah, and
so
that's
so-
part
so
of the
we-
work we're doing
that
in
you-
terms of supporting our PIs and looking at other sources of funding, foundation.
Which you were able to do during this period when you weren't getting any federal funding. You were able to provide some alternative funding to keep some of these people keep them going. But certainly we would be interested, and I'm sure there are plenty of other people out there who would be interested in knowing the full impact of these cuts and what what we ended up losing and how much and it's research that we lost research. People have been working on research for years, and then it suddenly gets cut, and we lose whatever value that they were able to accumulate over the years.
That's correct. So we're working on that assessment, and as we said, as we continue to work with the administration, submit these new grants and try to reopen the ones that were closed out, we'll have a better picture of where they stand. And we'll be able to come back with a full report on the impact. We're still measuring that.
Very good. All right, appreciate that. Yeah, but please remember, don't forget, this is a very important issue. And then what the heck is the medical center if not for much of the research that Columbia does here?
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Diane, have you survived so far? Yes. Diane, thank you.
I see, Diana.
This is a record.
I know.
Yeah,
Steve, we gotta cut him down on this agenda.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to quickly run through the rest of it. But Diane, you have a report for us?
Sure. Hi, I'm Diane. For the record, I'm Diane Ashley, Chief Marketing and Communications Officer for MJHS Health System at Isabella. We have no COVID at the moment, and premature to be giving stats on flu vaccine, etc. So I'll be able to do that on the next report. But I think we're zip code 10040, so that's consistent with the data that you're finding, Steve.
Yes.
You asked about the cooling centers that we ran this summer.
Yes.
We opened on all but one. I think we missed the first day. It snuck up on us early, but we were open on all days where it was 90 degrees or over to older adults in the community and their caregivers. We no longer use the tent. We hosted inside. I would say that attendance was minimal, which is very disappointing. I know Porfirio put something in the borough president's newsletter. Others promoted it. We promoted on social media, but we built it, but nobody came. So I'm not sure what we will do next year. I think it's unfortunate. I don't know if that's people in the community being scared to congregate given the environment that we're in, or if it was
Probably a lack of.
I'm not sure what it is, but
yeah, we have to do a better job getting the word out. Did you utilize the social hall for this?
I believe we used the social hall for most, if not all of them, but the library was the backup if there was already programming in there for residents that couldn't be moved. So we had two locations that were always available if one wasn't. But yes, we were back in the auditorium.
Very good. That's good news. So let me just say for the benefit of my committee members that one of our topics next month will be a discussion about the cooling centers. There's legislation that was recently approved by the city council requiring the city to provide more cooling centers in communities and to have a certain number for oh gosh, where is it?
We can talk about it next month.
Yeah, we can talk about it next month.
Let's do that,
But-
Steve, if
so
you're
it's the-
prepping that,
so
there's a
it-
very good report from REACT on cooling centers.
Okay, well, let's get a hold of it. So we're supposed to have at least 7 cooling centers per 100,000 residents. So in Washington, I said Inwood, I guess we should have probably at least 14 of them. So we're gonna discuss next month any suggestions we might have for additional cooling centers in the community. Next, I wanted to have a very brief discussion about our previous resolution regarding noise in public plazas, which was not approved by the full board. It lost by 1 vote, didn't get a majority, basically because of a large number of people who chose to abstain. But there are people in the community who feel as though this resolution has validity and should be reintroduced. You know, I forwarded to you 2 other emails I got during the day today, and I've had other emails over the summer. And I think as we heard tonight, it's still an issue. So you know, maybe we'll go into further detail about it next month. But you know, the resolution, as far as I'm concerned, probably needs to be updated. We should reflect whatever issues arose over the summer and do some more groundwork, talking to our fellow board members to see if we can possibly get some consensus on how to deal with this issue in the future. I see people nodding their heads, so we have agreement on that?
Yeah, I think I have a couple different recommendations, but given that it's almost 10 o'clock, I would love to come back and talk about this next month. And
Right.
I remember taking notes from the general board meeting about the particular points that people had issues with that I think we can amend to make it a little more palatable. But I think generally the spirit is that we need to do something about it. That is the agreement, and that seemed to be the spirit of the general meeting as well.
All right, so Heidi, you're in agreement on that?
Yeah.
All right, and Richard?
It's fine.
And all right, very good. OC, do you want to weigh in on this? And John?
John left a long time ago.
Oh, John left.
He had to go childcare stuff.
Oh, is that right? Okay. All right, so next month, we're also going to be discussing our FY27 budget priorities. We briefly discussed with Commissioner Fatu, maybe some additional items we're going to add about DEP concerns. So let's take we distributed our list. So let's take a look at that and come back next month with ideas on how we want to update our budget priorities for the upcoming budget. On recycling statistics, we actually had the latest statistics available for the month of April. We actually had some progress here. Where'd it go? Where did it go? In any case, the recycling statistics showed an improvement between April of yes, here they are. Thank you. I'm thanking myself. In the diversion rate for April of 2025 was 17.5%, which is a somewhat significant increase over the year before, 2024, when it was 16.1%. So this is one of the first times you can see a year-to-year some year-to-year progress on our recycling statistics. We already went through the latest DP service request and the number of complaints about hydrants over the summer. There are still no current statistics on street and sidewalk cleanliness ratings. We're going to hear from the ASPCA hopefully next month. The OC is going to try to arrange having a representative from ASPCA talk to us about the spay and neuter mobile vans and other services they should be providing. Is there any new business? No. Are there any additional announcements? No. Next month, we need to reschedule our meeting. First Thursday of the month is the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. I propose that we meet the following Thursday, which would be October the 9th.
So land use is meeting that day as well?
Which day, the 9th?
Yes.
Not on a Wednesday?
No, because Yom Kippur is also.
No, it's
Not,
not also.
yeah.
Must be a different holiday.
No, yes, I'm being insensitive. A holiday
Is on
is
that.
on the Thursday as well.
No, on,
The Thursday that is land use, so we are also moving our meeting
but are
to
you
October 9th.
to a Thursday, not to a Wednesday?
Yes,
Oh, no.
because Wednesday, the 8th is also a Jewish holiday.
Is another Jewish holiday. Oh, boy.
It's already been.
What?
It's already been.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Oy vey.
It's Sukkot.
For the minutes.
So what is another day that's gonna be free?
October's a long month. I don't know what the exec and general meetings are gonna be, but they may be a little later.
Aging is gonna be on the morning of Thursday, the 16th.
Well, can we push our meeting then as late as the 16th?
I didn't double check, but it's possible.
All right, so we're gonna search for another date and we'll I may have to do a poll by email to see when people are available. But
Yeah, so on the 9th is it's land use, but also tentatively the day where we're convening with EDC and other agencies about the Inwood rezoning points of agreement. So it's going to be like a large meeting, actually.
so that's the same as the ladies?
Yeah,
Okay, well, I want to be at that meeting.
Yeah. Otherwise I would say like just, we can like tag.
No,
teams
but
it.
there's, and I think there's already another committee that also meets on that Thursday.
Yes, I believe it's youth and education.
Yes, yeah. All right,
Yeah.
so we'll,
Exec isn't until the 20th.
what is it?
The 20th.
What about it?
October 20th is when the executive committee, meets, which means their committee could meet anytime before.
Yeah, all right, we'll search that out. Okay, I believe, I know to most people's dismay, we're ready to adjourn the meeting. So it's now 10:01, hearing no objections, the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all for coming, thank you, Diane, and for lasting this long, and thank you to my fellow committee members.
Everyone, thank you.
Okay, take care.
What happened the first hour and a half?
It was the DEP
The
presentation.
flooding one.
Yeah, it just went long for whatever reason. I'm not sure why.
And then spiraled into a discussion about noise enforcement, which DEP also has.
Yeah, so we did actually kind of discuss noise. We discussed about it. But I think also his presentation is just kind of long.
It is long, yeah.
I think it was like 20 slides. Great presentation. I quite enjoyed it.